cousins, and there's very much this kind of old boys network. And then over time, as these things become larger and more bureaucratic and more top heavy, and they have more kind of like, not that it's ever remotely enough of the horrible things they're doing, but they get more oversight of a type. Mm-hmm. It puts limits. I mean, I've seen it even in like the world of education, where if you look back, the same sort of institutionalization, like I don't know, rigidification, something like that.
Yeah. My
stepfather was a school teacher, and he tells me the funniest stories about how when he started teaching in, I don't know, the early 70s or something like that, they could just they had so much ability that the teachers and administrators and coaches and whatever at the school he was at, they could just routinely do shit that would get you fired and possibly prosecuted today.
I had a teacher in 4th grade who ironically is still teaching, and just really, like, my nephew just had him for a teacher last year, as a matter of fact, constantly thumbs his nose at like the limitations that have been. I mean, even then it felt like that, because my dad was the chairman of the school board. So this was like the, I don't know, 1986, maybe 1987. And, my dad was like, give this guy more money. He's the best teacher. This is like what every teacher should be like. But he was going completely against the grain of what everybody else was doing, which was like the safest, most controlled, most regimented kind of thing. So, I mean, there are, maybe a handful of survivors even today who are getting away with this. But, I mean, contrast that to my experience 15 years ago, going through a graduate program with people who are already teaching. And it's basically like we come into school and they put handcuffs on us.
Right. And there's like official forms to fill out to do anything. And, if you don't follow the letter of procedure, like you might end up in really deep shit. I mean,
teachers have told me like it's almost not worth it. It's almost not worth doing some of this stuff because the red tape in your way is. Yeah. I mean, stories like back in the early 70s, students, at least where my stepfather was working, students would frequently give their teacher, like at the end of the semester, end of the school year or whatever, give their teacher a gift of a bottle of liquor. This is at a high school. Yeah.
I mean, can you imagine if students were giving teachers gifts of liquor in a high school today? Like, what a scandal it would be.
It's zero tolerance.
Yeah. And I don't know. I do. I mean, not that I think it's a good idea having the Federal Narcotics Bureau and the CIA running around like cowboys. But at the same time, there is something kind of endearing about an institution before it becomes, rigid and fossilized and whatever. That there's a flexibility. One of the things they did, they actually invented an imaginary student who didn't exist, and they made like a file on him, because this is back in pre-computer days.
Yeah.
They actually went and like made phony forms of all the files and records and whatever to have an actual student. And then they had I guess a student who they knew who was kind of cool, who was in on the joke with them, would go on the announcements on the PA in the morning and would say, and the student that they made up that didn't exist was named Bernie Detwiller. And they would have the guy reading the announcements over the PA say things like, "Oh, and congratulations to Bernie Detwiller for leading the school bowling team to victory last night over such and such." And not only did Bernie Detwiller not exist, the school had no bowling team. And they had this thing rolling for like a long time, and then eventually somebody in the office who was more on the accounting side of things somehow figured out that Bernie Detwiller didn't exist and went and approached, I don't know, the principal or somebody. He's like, we've got this student Bernie Detwiller here, and it looks like he's never paid his tuition.
Yeah.
And obviously then the joke was up. They couldn't do it anymore, but like nobody really got in trouble.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe the principal, I can't remember, but maybe the principal told my stepdad and the other teachers in on the joke, like, "Hey guys, come on, that was dumb. Don't do that again," whatever. But like, no one got fired. No one, got in big trouble. It was just more like, I don't know. I would enjoy, I think I would enjoy teaching more in that kind of a McHale's Navy sort of a scenario.
Yeah, my observation just from my own schooling is that teachers in the beginning wanted to have fun and wanted to be energetic and engaged. My dad talks to me about like his positive experiences in school despite not being a good student, and he had this like really young teacher who, my dad had no father, his mother was a drunk, so the school was kind of like a respite for him growing up, and he had this young, I think it was a math teacher, who would just stay after with him and a couple other kids, and they would just do math, And now, so as somebody gets older, that just, I mean, maybe that's just a function of getting older. Maybe that happens to all of us. But I did see a lot of people worn down in the later stages of the career versus people who seem pretty energetic in their first 5 years.
Yeah.
But then, I mean, that was my experience as a student. And then when I was going back in as a teacher, I already mentioned that people who still look like kids sitting in this classroom with me were like, I've had it.
Yeah.
I've had it. But it wasn't about I've had it with the kids, because I also think that a lot of them can't. There's something that is necessary about avoiding identifying the system as the problem, because you're stuck. The system, I think deep down, whether we're talking about education or scale it up or extend it into anything we've talked about in the last 45 minutes, deep down that system's not going to change. Yep. And you find things within the system. It's almost like the idea of the limited hangout itself, right? It's we had this guy, Steve, and he was an asshole, and he's gone now.
Yes.
No more of Steve's shenanigans, everybody. But it's the system that failed. It's the system that's broken, especially in the case with education. But what I remember seeing whether I was student teaching or I was sitting in these group therapy sessions of current teachers in states like New York and Massachusetts was they were blaming No Child Left Behind. Mm-hmm. Right? They had something specific but that was new, right? It's like there's some new imposition into what we're doing, and they were right. It was a good identification that it certainly was, but it wasn't extended to the system that was around it. And what most teachers did, most of the people that I talked to, and most of the observations that I had as a student, they blamed the students and they blamed the parents, right? And if we could fix those things, this would be great.
Right.
Yeah.
And they're probably not entirely wrong about that.
No, I think
students and the parents are probably pretty dysfunctional, but
well, yeah, and worn down by the system in many ways as well, which I learned towards the end of my career, being a private service provider.
Mm-hmm. No, I mean, I don't disagree with that. Even just in my own whatever it is now, 12, 13 years teaching college, I've seen a miniature version of that process of kind of things gradually becoming more rigid and more bureaucratic and whatever. And it's not to say that it was like wide open Wild West when I started in 2006 or whatever, but that I've noticed, and part of it is a generational thing over time. Most of the administrators who were running things when I got hired have retired since then, and it's a younger crowd who are more used to everything being kind of formal and by the book and forms and procedures and whatever. And the older generation was a little bit more loose. I guess they had come in, in the 60s and 70s when things were still more kind of informal and ad hoc and all that kind of stuff, where you could just kind of as long as you knew who to call or whatever, you can just kind of get things done behind the scenes.
So they're kind of continuing a culture that existed before a lot of the new controls and regulations. Even as the new controls and regulations come in, it's still a little bit softer at that time. Yeah, I think we did our 2-part series months ago on it was for people considering community college. So I figured there'd be a lot of unschoolers who would see that as a step maybe into continuing higher education somewhere else. And I think we broke it into 2 parts, and one part dealt more with the cultural, social aspects, and that was changing times, changing generation, those kinds of considerations, which are not something we're saying this is the cause, but we're saying this is a factor. And then the other part dealt more with the political side of it, right? As things become more centralized and federalized, the management or the control of them gets away from the people operating at the actual service level, and it's certainly been the case in public schooling in the United States. While all the money is still forced in locally, the control has been sucked further and further away from those communities over my lifetime, pretty much. But even if there were designs on that extended 100 years back in the past, before the Federal Department of Education, that has always been, as it is with so many things political, the lifting of control further and further away. Like, you set up the structure and you say this is democratic, or this is how it works, or you can go to this meeting and your voice can be heard, and then eventually it's just like the actual levers of participation are just drawn further and further away from the average person.
And that's very much something that can be traced back to the to kind of progressivism 1.0, the kind of late 19th, early 20th century first draft of progressivism. They had these two ideas that seemed to be contradictory logically, but that actually, in a way, work from the perspective of the elites who want that system in place. And that is, we need more democracy. We need to make things more democratic. We need things like, the amendment to have people vote directly for their senators. We need to have primaries instead of having the party bigwigs choosing the candidates in the smoke-filled back rooms. So yeah, we're going to have these more quote-unquote democratic reforms, and yet at the same time also pushing for making most of the machinery of government, which is mostly, bureaucrats.
You're 6 minutes away from a live episode of Free Talk Live. Listen live at freetalklive.com.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. Online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow with your latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Gold is trading at $1,404, silver at $15.58, and Bitcoin is trading at $9,597. Today's prices are brought to you by InnoScale. Take off with Managed Cloud. Looking for a safe, secure way to store your important files online? Let InnoScale handle it for you. Their high-availability cloud servers are the perfect solution for clients needing one or more secure, scalable servers with built-in hardware failover protection. For details, see them online at innoscale.net. In the news, hundreds of Pentagon officials have been caught running a child porn network on official Department of Defense computers. That report comes from the Free Thought Project, which says the problem of government agents viewing horrific images and videos of child pornography on official Department of Defense computers has gotten so out of hand that bipartisan legislation has been introduced to curb the practice. Representatives Abigail Spanberger and Mark Meadows introduced legislation earlier this month meant to halt the epidemic of government employees viewing and sharing child porn over networks and devices. According to a report from The Hill, the End National Defense Network abuse was introduced in the wake of an investigation called Project Flicker, carried out by U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement. The investigation identified over 5,000 individuals, including many affiliated with the DoD, who were subscribed to child porn websites. The investigation was conducted by the Pentagon's Defense Criminal Investigative Service, and it netted hundreds of suspects who worked for and are affiliated with the Department of Defense. The Liberty Beat is sponsored in part by Brave Botanicals, high-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven, and believes so strongly in the power of kratom, they're giving it away for free. Just go to freeounceofkratom.com for a free ounce of kratom delivered to your door. Just pay shipping. That's freeounceofkratom.com. This is the latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Find us online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. Your news now continues. The FBI plans to step up its efforts to gather information from social media, issuing a call last week for a new tool to monitor Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and other platforms in a timely fashion. The Mind Unleashed reports the FBI is citing the use of social media by terrorist groups, domestic threats, criminal organizations, and foreign intelligence services as the need for near real-time access to a full range of social media exchanges in order to obtain the most current information available. In addition to information such as user IDs, the feds are interested in emails, IP addresses, telephone numbers, and likely aliases used over social media. The tool would also allow for location-based tracking, persistent keyword monitoring, and access to one's personal social media history. As smart devices have become ubiquitous in our lives, people are becoming increasingly concerned about the privacy implications of the technology. In the past, tech companies like Google have insisted that their smart devices are not a threat to privacy. But as it becomes more obvious how intrusive the technology can be, they have started to play damage control and are now revealing limited details about the scope of their surveillance. Activist Post reports that in a recent statement, Google admitted they were listening to some of their customers through the Google Home smart speakers, which are always listening and recording. The company said they only use 0.2% of the data that they collect, which is still a lot of data considering how many people have the devices. The company says a small percentage of the recordings are somehow analyzed to help them improve their voice recognition technology. But they insist the recordings are entirely anonymous. The statement was made after the company leaked an unspecified amount of audio data. Support for the Liberty Beat comes from the Conscious Resistance Network, featuring videos, news reports, and articles from a spiritual anarchist perspective. Experience the Conscious Resistance at theconsciousresistance.com. How would you like to have your business featured on the Liberty Beat? You can. Just send an email to libertybeat@snls.news for details. This is the Liberty Beat, produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. The Liberty Beat is online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for the Liberty Beat, reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
If you're a parent, chances are you know all about the spooky truth books, with subjects ranging from shadowy fraternal organizations to mind-controlling TV shows. Kids can't get enough of this series of short, scary children's novels.
And spooky truth author K.L. Graves is joining us this morning.
Thanks for having me.
You know, my kids just love these books. In just 4 years, you've put out 25 books. It came from Tower 7, Curse of the Chemtrails, The Zionist Who Cried Holocaust.
Now, this stuff has really been catching on. Over 40 million copies sold, so many bestsellers out there.
I've been thrilled. Before this series, I was self-publishing pamphlets and handing them out on the train. Now I get emails from teachers and parents all the time telling me that my books are all their kids can talk about.
Oh, well, it's true. My son used to hate to read. Now he's holed up in the basement with these spooky truth books all day and night. Says he never watches TV, doesn't even want tap water anymore. He just loves reading so much.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live. 855-450-3. I'm going to start over completely. It's myself, Chris.
and me, Johnson.
And Johnson, did you know that I've been diagnosed with Lyme disease?
No, that's awful. Is it the you can't ever eat meat again kind?
Oh, no. God, no. I haven't heard of that one.
Yeah.
855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-373. Here on a special Lyme disease edition of Free Talk Live.
I always like to do that number 2 ways. I like to give it out with the digits 855 or 855-450-3733, and I also like to do it with the alliterative ridiculous amount of F's and say 855-450-FREE.
Just to throw people off. Yes, the addition of Lyme disease that I seem to have currently. Before it was a lot of blurred vision, but it's more the neurological symptoms.
How long have you gone undiagnosed, do you know?
I'm thinking 45, 50 years. No, I have no idea. I have no idea. When did I get bit by that tick? Also joining us is Silver Dave.
Hi, everybody.
How are you?
Sorry I'm a little late.
Oh, that's all right. We've just been talking about ticks and things ticks do to us.
I've been diagnosed multiple times with Lyme disease, and I also had my mom have to go through Lyme disease because I used to live in Connecticut on 9 acres of field.
And so near the town of Lyme by any
surrounded,
chance?
Not really that close, but I mean the spread of Lyme disease from that kind of central location has been dramatic. And in fact, it's funny that you bring this up because actually one of my pieces of prep is actually related to this.
Oh,
I don't know if you're we're going that direction.
We are now.
But yeah. So absolutely, let me pull that up.
Yeah, it's been interesting. I experienced just a lot of fatigue and stuff like that, and then I started to get blurred vision. I'm like, well, there's a symptom I've never had for any reason whatsoever in my life. And some irritability and very tired, very exhausted, and started to kind of, do what any responsible citizen does. He goes to Google. He does not seek medical attention. He goes to Google. That's where we find these things out now.
I actually don't trust the medical industrial complex to cure me as much as I trust them to charge me a lot of money.
They do that.
And or give me something that won't cure me, but just will continue to keep me paying to not feel as bad.
Yeah.
Therefore, your Google approach is might be recommended.
Hear that, folks? It's got the Silver Dave seal of good housekeeping approval.
I'm just saying, rolling the dice is a better bet than choosing what's like probability going to screw you.
Yeah, you're really going to like the story that I brought in too, because it's from Gizmodo here. And the title is "The Pentagon has been ordered to tell Congress if it weaponized ticks and released them into the public."
Oh, God.
A bill has been drafted to order Congress to release that information if it exists, because there is a lot of information out there that there is a place called, I think it's Necker Island,
yes,
in Lyme, Connecticut, where there is a military weapons testing facility where supposedly they were using ticks to breed and carry diseases. And the thing that supposedly happened is that they didn't account for the fact that ticks would ride birds.
Ooh, who would have thought? So this is interesting. This Necker Island, is this a biological testing? Was it alleged to be a biological weapons?
A biological weapons testing facility in Lyme, Connecticut.
Yeah. Wow. So I came in late. Obviously, you detected that. And so I walk in, and I don't know if you've already covered this. Did this originate with the idea that Lyme disease may in fact be a biological weapon created by some government, possibly the United States government, is that where we're at?
So I've actually brought this up, that theory, in the past, because I've brought up Lyme disease over the years just because, again, I've been diagnosed with it and I've known so many people affected by it. And I've had neurological issues that were similar to effects of Lyme disease. And I thought at one point that I was going to be diagnosed, and I was diagnosed with some other things. And, bringing up some symptoms that I've had, I mean, I think I've even mentioned some symptoms to you, and I think you even said to me, have you been diagnosed with Lyme disease? Right. It's like kind of like... yeah, and in the past I have, so it's just one of those things where, especially if you hear that these weird symptoms that never used to be around, you never used to have to be afraid as a kid. When I was young, maybe this is dating me as being a real old person, but we used to go and roll in leaf piles in the fall, like you would jump in the leaves.
It was enjoyable.
Now it's terrifying.
You get arrested for that now.
Yeah.
You let a kid do what?
Yes.
And what? How could you?
But the ticks... it's insane, and that's the world we now live in. But it does seem that Lyme disease has become much more prevalent.
Yeah, I never even heard of ticks until I was like a teenager.
Oh, I heard of them when I was young. Yeah, back when
Did you
I
ever
was
have
young.
any?
No, but we in Eastern Oregon.
Now you can't go 5 feet outside without 10 of them attaching themselves.
I know. We always heard about it. He said, these diseases are, and there was like one person in our county that had come down with Lyme disease. Right. And my county was not big, a couple thousand people, but everybody knew who that one person. Yep, she got Lyme disease.
Right.
That was the only example of it, and this isn't anywhere close to.
When abouts are we talking about? 1920s, 30s?
30s. That'd be in the 1970s. I'm trying to be accurate, not flippant about my advancing age. It is an often discussed topic of exactly how old is Chris.
Right.
And until the carbon-14 dating comes back, we will not know.
Yeah, so same situation in the 80s. I mean, I didn't really hear anything about it as a kid.
Yeah.
It's just...
How old? In the 80s?
I was born in the 70s.
Wow.
Silver Dave's kind of timeless.
I feel really young age-wise, but old-looking maybe.
Well, only compared to me, of course. 855-450 free is our toll-free number. Give us a call.
I just turned 41, so I just get a lot that people are like, "You're 41? You look like you're 32."
You look kind of young.
Yeah, you do. You do, honestly.
Must be that Diet Pepsi.
It's preserving me.
Just kidding. Diet Pepsi they were like, yes.
It's pickling me, including my brain.
Yeah, that's actually that might be the reason why you don't look 23.
Yeah, maybe.
It's
or
possible.
it just, jumped off of something because you just were like, I can't stand life without Diet Coke.
It's the preservatives.
It's not worth living. It's preserving him.
Yes.
Hey, that might actually be, there might be something to that.
There we go. So tell me more about this. This I find
Okay.
How does it make
fascinating.
you feel?
Apparently, some members of the United States House are concerned the Pentagon may have unleashed disease-infected ticks that caused the spread of Lyme disease. Roll Call reports that July 11th, the House stealthily decided to voice vote to support an amendment to the 2020 Defense Authorization Bill that would require the Department of Justice to look into weaponized ticks.
Okay, folks, for those of you listening at home or wherever you're listening to your radio, when Congress wants to do something quietly and put it somewhere no one would ever possibly find that they are actually doing something, they will stuff it in a defense authorization bill because it is physically impossible for someone to read the entire thing.
Yeah.
Even more difficult to actually analyze what's in it because
I
everything
absolutely
gets...
think that there are people who will do this, though. Will go the 9 yards because
Well, I hope so.
So harmful.
I hope so.
So it says here, according to the Congress-focused newspaper, New Jersey Republican Representative Christopher Smith wrote the amendment, which demands the Inspector General shall conduct a review of whether the Department of Defense experimented with ticks and other insects regarding use as a biological weapon between the years of 1950 and 1975.
Intriguing. Has the U.S. government militarized ticks? Have they been sicked on your humble host? Is this a biological attack on myself? Unreal, but we're going to find out more. 855-450-FREE is our toll-free number. This is Free Talk Live.
Gold has definitely been on the move recently, and there is no more secure investment historically. McIlvaney ICA has been helping people take delivery of precious metals and find storage options for decades. They've helped thousands of investors with their precious metal IRAs. Call ICA today for your free portfolio review at 800-525-9556 or download their free report online at ICAGoldSilver.com to learn how you can double your gold and silver ounces even within an IRA. 800-525-9556. ICAGoldSilver.com.
You know what sucks? Not being able to do whatever you want, whenever you want, within legal and ethical constraints, of course. Being stuck in a boring job or stressful business, or living in fear that your wife or girlfriend might get mad at you if you do what you want. I'm Caleb Jones, and my staff and I have taught hundreds of thousands of men how to create location-independent income and how to date women under your terms. Go to freelifeinfo.com to download 7 free books and podcasts so you can live a life like this too.
I'm crazy about My Magic Mud. This is the most important oral care product created this millennium, and I'm not kidding. We all have different opinions on politics and issues, but we all have mouths. And I want yours to be as clean as possible, with teeth as bright as they were meant to be. I will never be without My Magic Mud. It's a little surprising, but man, does it work. If you only listen to one thing I say ever, go to mymagicmud.com and get 20% off with code FTL. mymagicmud.com, code FTL.
Bitcoin.com has launched a trading platform at local.bitcoin.com, allowing you to buy or sell Bitcoin Cash via dozens of methods like PayPal, Venmo, bank deposit, remittances, or meeting in person with cash. There are no ID requirements to sign up for and use the site, and all communications between buyers and sellers are encrypted. Finally, a global trading platform that respects your privacy. Visit local.bitcoin.com to get started trading Bitcoin Cash. local.bitcoin.com.
Would you like to hang out with Penn Jillette? He's keynoting Freedom Fest this year. I, for one, am thrilled. Freedom Fest is the largest liberty-oriented gathering in the world. They take a Big Ten approach with libertarians, conservatives, liberals, anarchists, and just open-minded people mingling together to hear real debates, share real solutions, and converse freely. This year's theme is the Wild West, a time of liberty and opportunity, or a time of anarchy and violence. Maybe both. Go to freedomfest.com/FTL and get your tickets now. freedomfest.com/FTL. Not convinced yet? Hey, I understand. It's a high-end event, even with coupon code FTLEB. Sure, you're likely to receive investment advice that'll make that sum seem paltry, but I have something special for you. Go to freedomfest.com/FTL and you'll get the 5 best speeches from last year for free. Call it a test drive. Do yourself a favor and go to freedomfest.com/FTL. freedomfest.com/FTL. Use coupon code FTLEB for a discount.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
There are basically two types of advertising, direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
Live video of our Keene, New Hampshire-based shows is streamed on DLive. Please follow and share at dlive.lrn.fm. That's dlive.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, 8:55. I'm just not with it. This is Chris. Joined in studio is
Silver Dave
and Johnson.
I want to try that again. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. Free is in freedom. That's 855-450-3733. I've got a little bit of a Lyme brain today, so I apologize to you, our listeners. If I happen to fumble through this, I'm going to rely as much as I can as on my two capable co-hosts, Silver Dave and Johnson, both of which have done an exemplary job. And hopefully if I just sort of fade out or start twitching or something like that, they'll be able to handle the show just fine. But first, I do want to tell you about local.bitcoin.com. Bitcoin.com has launched a trading platform at local.bitcoin.com, allowing you to buy and sell Bitcoin Cash via dozens of payment methods, including PayPal, Venmo, bank deposits, remittances, or meeting in person with cash. There are no ID requirements to sign up for and use the site, and all communications between buyers and sellers are encrypted. Finally, a global trading platform that respects your privacy. Visit local.bitcoin.com to get started trading Bitcoin Cash. That's local.bitcoin.com. So we've had an interesting discussion. First of all, call it kismet, but, I walk in and I was just getting ready to start, and Johnson walks in. He's like, "Hey," I said, "By the way, I got Lyme disease." "Oh, perfect. That's show prep." I'm like, "Great. I'm glad my diseases can make for good radio." But this
I would have had this with, whether or not you had Lyme disease or not.
Exactly.
Happenstance.
That's okay. But Johnson has a story that talks about Congress slipping something into the defense authorization bill, asking them pretty much point blank, the attorney, and you'll refresh us on this, but asking point blank, did the military weaponize ticks?
Yeah. So it goes on here to say that if the review determines that such a project took place, then the amendment reportedly insists the Inspector General must present Congress with information on the scope of the research, including whether any ticks or insects used in such experiments were released outside of any laboratory by accident or experiment design. Smith, who is a co-chairman of the Congressional Lyme Disease Caucus, told Roll Call he hopes the Inspector General will share information that sheds light on these reports and could be used to hinder the spread of Lyme disease. "We need answers, and we need them now," Smith told Roll Call. For years, there have been reports and theories circulating that suggest Department of Defense researchers at facilities like New York's Plum Island and Maryland's Fort Detrick.
Hey, that's where I was stationed in the military.
Have infected insects for biological weapons tests and then released those insects outside of the lab, leading to the spread of Lyme disease.
So a couple things about Fort Detrick, Maryland. First of all, it's the head of the U.S. National Cancer Research. It has a communications portion of the base, and that's what I was involved with. Things like the hotline to Moscow. Everybody pictures the red phone.
Right.
Well, it's actually a teletype system, but it's the only base in the United States that actually communicates with Russian Molnoya satellites as part of the hotline. So there's all kinds of strange things. The stranger things go back into the 50s and 60s, where it was an active psychological, an active research facility for many of the CIA's psychological experiments. The MK Ultra things actually were researched there. The case of the dentist who, if you remember, took LSD and plummeted to his death. He was a well-known guy on Fort Detrick, and as a matter of fact, his son is still in the area. He has been suing the Department of Defense and the CIA forever over his father's death. But all sorts of things occur there. One of the buildings that I remember most distinctly is a large building that is the shape. It's the shape of a golf ball. What is that shape, Silver Dave? You would a large spherical shape. I'm asking you
like
this.
A dome?
Yes. Well, you have built one. Like a geodesic dome.
I didn't build a dome.
I thought you were involved in that.
Well, I live nearby the domes in Henniker that Rick Humboldt built.
I see.
I did a filming project where we film it, and it's kind of still going, where we're filming the repair, the refurbishing of the domes.
Very interesting.
Because one of the co-hosts here on Free Talk Live, Jay Noon, Jay the Prophet Noon, praise be him, to go on and say that he has purchased and is now rebuilding the roof on it and doing some other maintenance, upgrades, and that sort of thing.
Well, Fort Detrick's geodesic dome is out of place. I'll just say that. It's all just low, flat buildings like on every military base, but suddenly there is this approximately 5-story high dome in one section of the base. And you know, the only thing you really get, you never get an official answer if you're working on a military base, but you'll hear the rumors. And Fort Detrick has a lot of civilian employees, so there are a lot of guys that have been working there for 25, 35 years. And you will hear, before any of this started to come out of anything, saying that that's where they tested animals. And it was designed so that they could release different animals, different insects inside of this dome, keep them contained, yet infect them with certain diseases and things like that, and then introduce larger animals. So I don't know if that's true, but that was the rumor.
The specialized scientists that were going to work in that building insisted, it can't be a normal building, and it has to be unique and special. I can't work in a square building.
Well, we did have one 5-story building, the only one on base. That was affectionately known as Anthrax Tower, but that's a different story.
Oh, lovely.
That sounds like not the place you want to take your family this holiday season.
Yeah, that one got shut down in the mid-1960s, and if you look closely at the building, you realize that all 5 stories of it all the windows and doors are concreted shut. And the urban legend was there are still bodies in there, and there may or may not be. But please tell us more.
So, I guess a book published in May, Bitten, The Secret History of Lyme Disease and Biological Weapons, has brought public attention to these notions, which may have inspired Smith to propose this amendment that is co-sponsored by Maryland Republican Andy Harris and Minnesota Democrat Colin Peterson. A review by Outside Magazine says that Bitten author Chris Newby shared his book. This is a weirdly written sentence. A review by Outside Magazine says Bitten author Chris Newby research shared in the book rests on shaky ground and presents a lot of evidence but no smoking gun, proving a connection between the government biowarfare research and the Lyme disease outbreak.
The only thing that proves is that one has not been provided yet, and hopefully with some more eyes on it, maybe it will. 855-450-FREE. What do you think? Have you had Lyme disease? Did you kind of just experience this thing pop up out of nowhere like everybody else? This is Free Talk Live. Give us a call.
This is a special alert for business owners, consultants, coaches, folks planning retirement, entrepreneurs, and anyone who is saving and investing to build a financial future. You are likely aware that financial privacy for most people has recently died a miserable death. And let's face it, without privacy, there really is no security, is there? Bankrupt governments and banks on the verge of collapse are perhaps the biggest threat to your financial future today. The Lighthouse Law Club recognizes this and has been working diligently to provide safe, secure, and productive tools to ensure your privacy, your financial security, and your future financial well-being, despite the catastrophes which many people fear are looming ahead of us. Find out more with a variety of free videos on the YouTube channel for Lighthouse Law Club. Just search YouTube for Lighthouse Law Club and secure your future today.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm. What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin. But imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to saveitpurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. Saveitpurse.com. If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com to receive our usually weekly news updates by email. Plus, we have a Twitter account at twitter.freetalklive.com, and you can follow us on the decentralized Mastodon platform at toot.freetalklive.com. So please follow us at toot.freetalklive.com and sign up for our emails at news.freetalklive.com.
Hi, I'm Derek J. To me, an activist's calling is to actively work to advance a cause. The cause for which I work is personal freedom. I believe my life is best when I engage in voluntary interactions and self-government. I reject the idea that anyone else has a higher claim to my life or my body than I do. I see people who call themselves the government as a threat to my personal freedom. I realize you may feel differently, but my relationship with the people who call themselves the government is completely involuntary. If Starbucks used some of its money to drop bombs, I wouldn't shop there. So why would I support the American empire? The empire does not require my consent.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. That's victimlesscrimespree.com.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air, and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is Free Talk Live, 855-450-FREE. That's our toll-free number. That's free as in freedom, 855-450-3733. That's our toll-free number. That's a number you call if you want to be on a nationally syndicated radio show. You can also hit us up on Discord. Discord is a really cool app. You can load it on your smart device. You can load it on your laptop, and all you got to do is load it up, use your high-speed internet connection and your quality microphone, and call into us with Discord. you will sound like you are right here in the studio with us. The Essen studio I refer to is myself, Chris, with Lyme disease.
Silver Dave and no Lyme disease.
And Johnson and who knows.
Right.
Once you've had it once, you never know whether or not you still have it or not.
That's a great thing. I don't even really know if I have it. They think I probably have it. Who knows?
It can get into your marrow. I mean, there's all sorts of crazy stuff that they say about the spirochetes.
Right. Those blessed spirochetes. Those are not parakeets, by the way.
Thanks, government agency that may have, in fact, created this.
Yes.
Gee, thanks for keeping us safe.
And that's what we're discussing with Johnson. Johnson has a story from Gizmodo that basically has some congressmen probing.
Yeah, that's pretty much actually the gist at the end of the story. But who knows? I mean, at this point, it's like, did it happen? Did it not? I mean, they're questioning. They've got this bill. Hopefully, something will be revealed. You know, it's kind of like, obviously, it's something that's not going to be solved by a simple Freedom of Information request. But maybe this probe into Congress will force something to happen. Maybe they have to answer. I don't know what the legal repercussions is of a congressional inquiry into something, if they have to be honest or not.
So here's what I was, wanting to say in regards to that. I'm pretty sure that this project, if in fact there was a project to create and test biological weapons using ticks, it would have had to have a real high security clearance. So I'm pretty sure that when whatever Congress acts, requests, demands, I'm pretty sure that the military clearance can probably supersede their right to have to talk about it. And it also, like from a, quote, national security standpoint, if, for example, the government was to admit that it had a project, biological weapons, that went as haywire as like releasing ticks in the wild that went everywhere, that would be massive negative effects on what people think about the government, and it might cause a lot of discontention. Now,
more to the point, it could be seen by neighboring nations as an act of war. If you have indeed violated UN treaties and things like that to deal with biological weapons, and even though the U.S. is a signer to treaties that say we'll never do it, we've got a long history of doing it. If they have done something that has gotten out of control, then that would be a pretty flagrant violation.
Now, it wouldn't necessarily surprise me, though. So, like, when I say that, by using it could cause a lot of civil unrest, I'm not necessarily saying that wouldn't be a tactic. Like, I feel like if they wanted to destabilize the people that own the United States government, the people that own the printing presses, obviously they're higher and what their strategies are, but they may know that the United States is supposed to topple. They may let for something like this has to leak out and has to, or on the other hand, they're just not going to get the information.
I tend to look at most of these things as with an air of, okay, first of all, I'm skeptical that the government can pull anything off without it going horribly wrong. Our government has a long history of that. And I do know that, at least at Fort Detrick, Maryland, there was biological experimentation going on there. Mm-hmm. One of the things you explore when you explore biological weapons is you explore attack vectors. There was always discussion of how would this be delivered. You don't deliver a biological agent so you can go spray it out of the back of an airplane. The idea is it becomes part of the natural surrounding, and then it becomes that was the appeal. It's just part of nature. We don't know where that came from.
So I do have to correct something that I said earlier because I had brought it up and I was probably thinking of Plum Island when I had mentioned, and this is going to reveal something about me, but that I had mentioned Necker Island.
Oh, yeah.
And I have to apologize to Sir Richard Branson because
I
don't believe that he has anything to do with the weaponization or research of Lyme disease.
I'm sitting there, where do I know that name from? Oh, yeah, a good friend of mine was just up there talking cryptocurrencies with Richard Branson.
Yeah, so
okay.
Not the right island that I was thinking of there. As my brain is just serving up names of famous islands. You know,
that's a good one.
Plum Island, probably not Necker Island.
Yeah, but Plum Island has its own mystique. I mean, it's been around forever. It was, supposedly the island, the real life island of Dr. Moreau. All these experimentations on animals there. And
wasn't there also a creepy island from the 1913 where they decided to meet to form the Federal Reserve?
That would be Jekyll Island.
Right, there you go.
Yeah, and I don't know. We seem to like, in America, we like secrets on islands. But it is kind of strange. For those of you unfamiliar with Jekyll Island, a bunch of rich bankers literally left New York in the middle of the night and boarded a train for Jekyll Island under assumed names, hiding their identities so they could put together the rough plan of what the Federal Reserve would look like and how it would be owned and maintained by the biggest banks.
Be completely unaccountable for the money that they
would gain control of it and be completely uncontrollable and unaccountable to government and to the people. Now, that one sounds like flat out, here goes Reitman. He's talking conspiracy again. Read The Creature from Jekyll Island for a very well-documented history of what happened with the Federal Reserve.
And I love this subject.
I know you do.
And the thing is that this has a lot to do with why people are calling me Silver Dave, was because I was very interested in silver, particularly fractional silver, because you could use it as a medium to exchange for goods and services. And paper dollars are pieces of paper with numbers stamped on them. And before 1933, there was not an IRS, there was not income tax, but there was a Great Depression, and I'm pretty sure that they sort of solved it by swapping the money and the people. So like they used the people as collateral with their social security numbers. Everyone would get numbered. And then they put up the people against the banks to be loaned Federal Reserve notes, because the Federal Reserve Bank is not a government agency.
So I've heard this. I've heard this theory before.
Yeah, and I'm not
that
telling you
everybody
this
is just collateral for loans to the big banks. And
well, there was no IRS. And there was no social security number before like the early 1930s. There was also the Emergency Banking Act of 1933, which required individuals to turn in their gold coinage.
Oh, you're not telling me that a U.S. president sent out an order telling everybody in the United States they've got to turn in their. That would be so un-American. Dave, you want these people to believe that who was president? Roosevelt just picked up his pen and wrote a decree saying you have until this date to turn in your gold?
Well, I wasn't personally there. I do believe that the history books are written by the most powerful, wealthiest people. So there's a lot of disinformation and misinformation. But I do believe it to be true that, yes, in 1933, Americans were told, give us your gold, and we're going to give you these pieces of paper with numbers stamped to them, or we will put you in jail. And, of course, people don't like jail. So they went, and they did it. A lot of people buried buckets of gold in their yards, buried treasures, buried in their walls that surfaces, years later, and every so often people find things.
I'm going to break it here. What Dave's talking about is absolutely true. FDR did indeed issue an executive order ordering every American to turn in their gold, with a few exceptions. If you think your government is above not only just stealing your money through taxes, but literally putting a gun to your head and taking your money, it's true. 855-450-FREE. What do you think? We're talking government's conspiracies and what they may be up to with Lyme disease. Give us a call, 855-450-FREE. This is Free Talk Live.
Fellow Patriots, my name is Todd Savage, founder of BlackRifleRealEstate.com. Like you, I was a prisoner of the alt-left sanctuary state until one day I chose to lead my family to freedom. Today we live on a sustainable 20-acre homestead where we shoot, hunt, garden, and homeschool our children without the tyranny of the nanny state looking over us. If you're ready to flee the city to the freedom of Idaho or Montana, our Black Rifle Real Estate team is here to help. Go to BlackRifleRealEstate.com. That's BlackRifleRealEstate.com.
Policies issued by American General Life Insurance Company, Houston, Texas. Not available in all states. For details, visit AIGDirect.com.
Do you have a family? Would you like to help make sure they'll be taken care of if anything were to happen to you? If you answered yes, you probably need life insurance. Now, do you think life insurance is expensive? If you answered yes to that too, you definitely need to give AIG Direct a call. We could find you a $250,000 policy for just $14 a month, which means you could save hundreds of dollars a year. Call us now for a free, no-obligation quote. 1-800-919-5435. Since 1995, we've helped millions of people find out if they could save up to 70% on their term life insurance. See how affordably we can help you protect your family. Call AIG Direct now for your free quote. 1-800-919-5435. You could save up to 70%. That's 1-800-919-5435. 1-800-919-5435.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Sling bow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of sling bow. A new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
This is a special alert for business owners, consultants, coaches, folks planning retirement, entrepreneurs, and anyone who is saving and investing to build a financial future. You are likely aware that financial privacy for most people has recently died a miserable death. And let's face it, without privacy, there really is no security, is there? Bankrupt governments and banks on the verge of collapse are perhaps the biggest threat to your financial future today. The Lighthouse Law Club recognizes this and has been working diligently to provide safe, secure, and productive tools to ensure your privacy, your financial security, and your future financial well-being, despite the catastrophes which many people fear are looming ahead of us. Find out more with a variety of free videos on the YouTube channel for Lighthouse Law Club. Just search YouTube for Lighthouse Law Club and secure your future today.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, 8:55. I'm just...
Just got to remember 450.
Man, it's just not. I got to write it down. This is Chris. I'm the dude with Lyme disease who can't make his way through a radio show, but I'm going to do my best. I'm going to rely on my two compatriots this evening. In studio, we have myself, Chris,
Silver Dave,
and Johnson,
and they are doing their best to prop up my Lyme-riddled brain as I try to work my way through this episode. It's 855-450-FREE. That's our toll-free number, 855-450-3733. That's how you can contact us toll-free and get on the radio. But first, I want to help you take Bitcoin by pointing you, if you are a small business owner, to helpmetakebitcoin.com. Do you operate a retail business or looking for a solution for point-of-sale cryptocurrency acceptance? It's never been easier thanks to helpmetakebitcoin.com. There's no paperwork, no approval process, nothing needed like that to open an account. If you already have a tablet at your cash register, you're almost done. You visit helpmetakebitcoin.com and follow the simple steps. Within moments, you'll be accepting cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, Dash in your store. Get started now at helpmetakebitcoin.com. That's helpmetakebitcoin.com. And we've been talking, man, this is disturbing when you look down at your computer screen and you see it's filled with pictures of ticks. That's just, even if you don't have Lyme disease, nobody wants to see ticks.
Only a chicken would fantasize about finding 1,000 ticks somewhere.
I've heard guinea hens, too. They are very, very into ticks. And I've also heard possums.
One man's torture is another chicken's paradise.
There you go. But one thing that was, well, it caused some stir when this Minnesota town decided they were going to do away with the Pledge of Allegiance. And, as was one of the city councils of St. Louis Park said, I don't think people really need to pledge allegiance to our country because they need a sidewalk fixed.
Troops fought and died for you to be forced to pledge allegiance to this country. You should be chained and have all your freedom taken away if you do not bow down before the dictatorial stars and stripes.
I pledge allegiance to the golden calf. I will obey what the golden calf tells me to do.
Now, I want to lead off this story with a Donald Trump quote, a tweet. I mean, I'd have to go all the way back to yesterday to find one, so I did do my research. Donald J. Trump tweets, quote, "We will never be a socialist or communist country. If you are not happy here, you can leave." That's in all caps, so he means it.
Is he saying that in response to this?
No.
Okay.
He's
good.
just saying it in response to the other voices in his head.
You'd have to be a real dumbass to not know that the Pledge of Allegiance is a socialist design pledge.
Wait
Francis
a second here.
Bellamy.
He says you can leave. He says we can leave.
I know.
We can go. Well, where do you guys want to go? Like, yes, Dave, but they won't let you in or allow you to work and live.
I think Donald Trump, even more pointedly, told these congresswomen that the four that he's got it out for. He said they can just you think you can run things better. You go back to your own country and you do things better there.
Yeah, a lot of
these people are from the United States, so if you're sending them back and telling them to do a better job in their own country, that would mean, I guess, do a better job than
I'd
you.
I'd like to take that statement virtually, and I will say, okay, virtually, I agree with you. So without all these imaginary borders, I'll just go back to my house, and then your laws will be away from me because I'll have left. I left the laws that you think are so important, and you can have your Pledge of Allegiance that is written by a socialist by the name of Francis Bellamy, and you can keep your socialist, putting your hand over your heart and raising your hand to the flag, which is again based off of the Bellamy salute, which
looks so similar to another one I've seen.
Oh, those Nazis, the Nazi salute. Oh, that's right. They're designed by the same person.
What?
Yeah, the American Pledge of Allegiance and the salute to the American flag, the Pledge of Allegiance and the salute were both created and written by Francis Bellamy, who is a nationalist socialist, and it was the same guy designed this for the Nazis. It's the same.
I've never heard that part. You may be correct.
Yeah. So I believe that. Well, or maybe he got it from the Nazis when he designed it for the United States, but I think he may have lifted it from the Nazis, but he himself was absolutely a socialist.
There is no question of that. Bellamy's brother was the most well-known author of fiction in the 1800s, and he wrote books about basically utopias.
Who's Bellamy's brother?
Mr. Bellamy. I couldn't tell you off the top of my head. I'm going to refer to a Cato Institute article that I don't have pulled up. We're going to put it on our social media. The gist of it is Republicans should not want to fall on their swords for the Pledge of Allegiance. This is not the right hill to die on. This is one of those things that it was unfortunate that got passed in the first place, and we should let it die. It's not a good tradition.
I've never understood why there's such a large class of people in the Republican Party who are so nationalistic and so like, I love the country and the troops fought for your freedom, and like, and the same group of people who are like, but don't try and pay taxes and take taxes from me because it's like I shouldn't have to pay. It's like, what are you talking about? That would be like the first way to be the most allegiant and loyal and respectful, is by giving all your money. Dummy. Like if you don't want to pay to, support this institution, then what are you talking about? That everyone else should just bow down and worship it, but not give it money. Like, how do you not understand that that's not logical thinking?
I feel like everything should be on a donation basis, but then you'd have to name it something different than government. You'd have to give it some sort of voluntary type name. Yeah. And that's something that I feel like there could be some community group that helps work together to accomplish logistical, shared goals, but that can't step on people and force them to do things or force them to pay.
The problem I see with anything like that is at some point you're going to have somebody in charge of the roads for the happy, squeaky, shiny road donation company or whatever it's going to be. There is going to be somebody in charge, and that's where mankind always gets into trouble. We got to have somebody in charge. I'd love to see something more like that. I think figuring out the logistics of it, that's where we need to work, and that's what we should be working on. We should not be working on more of the same failed systems that have failed for all throughout history. There needs to be a better way. Dave, you're right.
I'm curious, since we're on this subject, because this is something I think about, and sometimes I wonder, is it really possible to just have everything be individual liberty where everyone just does their own things, and when they feel like they've been wronged, they take action to correct the wronging, and other people either get involved or don't get involved based on what they think? And I suppose, then maybe you have sections of land that people are living on, but then when it comes to, I know roads is a major libertarian issue, but I feel does anyone have an idea for how people could share those tasks?
Walter Block wrote a really good book about how, instead of just looking at the roads and going, well, who'll build the roads? It's like the immediate criticism of everything libertarian. Walter Block just sat down and, all right, I'm going to write a book and I'm going to lay out a logical way that we could have roads and have it not be forced on us by government, and it would logically work.
Walter Block?
Walter Block. He's
Walter C. Block, I believe.
Is that something if I Google, will I find that?
Absolutely. And I'll try to dig up the action. But he did, I think, a pretty good job. I'm not saying his is the perfect job. I don't say it's...
But it's an idea.
It's an idea.
That might work.
It might work. And therefore, I think it deserves exploring. Like many ideas in libertarian thought, not many of these things have really been tried. But you got people that care about liberty that are willing to give it a try, like us. 855-450-FREE. This is Free Talk Live.
Ike was such a sweet, lovable animal, and people would want to pet him, and they'd come up and they'd get close to him, and it would be this instant, oh! My dad didn't want to touch him. It's like, ooh, get the stinky dog away from me.
Even after we'd give her a bath, she would still stink.
Very stinky, both bad breath and bad gas. I asked the vet, and he said some dogs are just stinky.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy? Come to Dinovite for help.
DINOVITE.com.
The omega-3 fatty acids.
Flaxseed, zinc, alfalfa.
The digestive enzymes that are cooked out of regular dog food.
The ingredients convinced me that it was definitely worth trying. After about a week, he started smelling normal. My husband and I were really kind of astonished.
Dinovite is nutrition.
859-428-1000.
DINOVITE.com.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you're helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at Bitcoin.com. That's Bitcoin.com. LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next, after the news, here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. Online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow with your latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Gold is trading at $1,404, silver at $15.58, and Bitcoin is trading at $9,597. Today's prices are brought to you by InnoScale. Take off with Managed Cloud. Looking for a safe, secure way to store your important files online? Let InnoScale handle it for you. Their high-availability cloud servers are the perfect solution for clients needing one or more secure, scalable servers with built-in hardware failover protection. For details, see them online at innoscale.net. In the news, hundreds of Pentagon officials have been caught running a child porn network on official Department of Defense computers. That report comes from the Free Thought Project, which says the problem of government agents viewing horrific images and videos of child pornography on official Department of Defense computers has gotten so out of hand that bipartisan legislation has been introduced to curb the practice. Representatives Abigail Spanberger and Mark Meadows introduced legislation earlier this month meant to halt the epidemic of government employees viewing and sharing child porn over networks and devices. According to a report from The Hill, the End National Defense Network abuse was introduced in the wake of an investigation called Project Flicker, carried out by U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement. The investigation identified over 5,000 individuals, including many affiliated with the DoD, who were subscribed to child porn websites. The investigation was conducted by the Pentagon's Defense Criminal Investigative Service, and it netted hundreds of suspects who worked for and are affiliated with the Department of Defense. The Liberty Beat is sponsored in part by Brave Botanicals, high-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven and believes so strongly in the power of kratom, they're giving it away for free. Just go to freeounceofkratom.com for a free ounce of kratom delivered to your door. Just pay shipping. That's freeounceofkratom.com. This is the latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Find us online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. Your news now continues. The FBI plans to step up its efforts to gather information from social media, issuing a call last week for a new tool to monitor Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and other platforms in a timely fashion. The Mind Unleashed reports the FBI is citing the use of social media by terrorist groups, domestic threats, criminal organizations, and foreign intelligence services as the need for near real-time access to a full range of social media exchanges in order to obtain the most current information available. In addition to information such as user IDs, the feds are interested in emails, IP addresses, telephone numbers, and likely aliases used over social media. The tool would also allow for location-based tracking, persistent keyword monitoring, and access to one's personal social media history. As smart devices have become ubiquitous in our lives, people are becoming increasingly concerned about the privacy implications of the technology. In the past, tech companies like Google have insisted that their smart devices are not a threat to privacy. But as it becomes more obvious how intrusive the technology can be, they have started to play damage control and are now revealing limited details about the scope of their surveillance. Activist Post reports that in a recent statement, Google admitted they were listening to some of their customers through the Google Home smart speakers, which are always listening and recording. The company said they only use 0.2% of the data that they collect, which is still a lot of data considering how many people have the devices. The company says a small percentage of the recordings are somehow analyzed to help them improve their voice recognition technology. But they insist the recordings are entirely anonymous. The statement was made after the company leaked an unspecified amount of audio data. Support for the Liberty Beat comes from the Conscious Resistance Network, featuring videos, news reports, and articles from a spiritual anarchist perspective. Experience the Conscious Resistance at theconsciousresistance.com. How would you like to have your business featured on the Liberty Beat? You can just send an email to libertybeat@snls.news for details. This is the Liberty Beat, produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. The Liberty Beat is online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for the Liberty Beat, reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
Sources within the Vatican confirmed Tuesday that Pope Benedict XVI has dispatched an elite team of 6 bishops to sabotage leading contraceptive manufacturer Pfizer. Codenamed Conclave 6, the highly trained team of bishops will reportedly infiltrate the heavily guarded compound, detonate extremely powerful charges at key points within the factory, and then escape to a nearby safe house.
The Catholic Church can trust only the best with defending God's plan. Conclave 6 is the deadliest team of bishops I've ever laid eyes on.
The Pope denied rumors that a B team of needle-wielding priests had been deployed to a latex factory in New Jersey to poke tiny holes into thousands of Durex condoms. Locally, the best part of a gay 12-year-old's day is the half hour he spends eating lunch alone in a stairwell. Calling it his only respite from constant ridicule and mockery, 7th grader Ben McElroy says life doesn't get better than the moments he spends quietly laying out his lunch on a secluded staircase while the rest of his classmates are in the cafeteria.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live. 855-450-FREE. That's free as in freedom. 855-450-3733. That's our toll-free number. We're in hour number 2. The first hour went so fast. That's what's good about this show. It's never the same twice. We always bring in new and different stories, and we always entertain calls from viewers, from listeners who can bring up and viewers.
Those unfortunate enough to be watching any of the webcams tonight.
Well, that's the thing. People do like to watch us, and I don't understand why, but they do. You can watch us on Twitch. You can watch us on YouTube, and you can, join in, become part of the show that way. There's all sorts of ways to do that. First of all, the us in studios, myself, Chris,
Silver Dave,
and Johnson.
And we have been talking about of course, we're all over the book. We first started off talking about Lyme disease and Congress actually asking the Pentagon, listen, guys, have you ever experimented with this and accidentally released Lyme disease? Is that how we got it? And they put that in a defense authorization bill. We then, we talked a lot about ticks and lots of things that the government has done that you may not think they've done, but they have. Things that are very well documented, like the Federal Reserve and FDR actually seizing Americans' personal gold. That occurred in the 1930s. Silver Dave is very familiar with these things because you've got a history of minting your own silver coins, and I think that's really cool. I remember one year at PorkFest, I offered a premium for what I was selling if you would pay me in silver coins from your foundry. What do we call this?
A mint.
A mint, okay. Yeah, so there's all sorts of little tidbits about money that most people have no idea about. What we did want to get into was this story out of Minnesota. Minnesota City Council reinstates the Pledge of Allegiance after widespread backlash. Now, we discussed this the other night on the show when it was, I think it was Ian and I on Saturday night, them deciding that there really wasn't a need to say the Pledge of Allegiance. In the words of one of the town council, look, if somebody's coming in to complain about their sidewalk, I don't see why they have to pledge allegiance to the country to do that. And that got into a discussion of the history of the Pledge of Allegiance and how it was written by an avowed socialist, Francis Bellamy. I invite you to research Francis Bellamy and find out the true history of the Pledge of Allegiance.
He definitely didn't write anything for the Nazis because he was born in 1955, so that would have been very difficult.
He did sell a lot of flags because of the Pledge of Allegiance. That was part of his angle. And the second thing was the advancement of socialism. When this really took off was during the Progressive Era.
Oh, sorry, 1855.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
So actually, no, I'm completely wrong about that. Again,
he was born.
I'm illiterate too, apparently.
Well, that's all right.
Just because you said that, I started searching how old the Pledge of Allegiance is.
Yeah, it's actually not.
This thing is pretty new.
Yeah, it's not that old actually. Yeah.
How old is it?
I mean, if he was actually born in 1855 to 1931. Let's see when the pledge was actually written. 1891, let me see here. Maybe.
Can I get a 1911 or a 1913? Something special?
Actually, you want that to be that? I don't think so. I think it's probably a little older than that. It's probably late 1890s is where I would guess, but let me keep looking.
Yeah, but what I do want to reiterate is that in that time, this was the progressive era of American politics. This is when progressivism was taking over, this idea that it was a lot of jingoism, American superiority, and empire building for the first time in our history became something that was being talked about. And this was under, such famous progressives as Woodrow Wilson, a very well-known progressive, Theodore Roosevelt. What? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say Theodore Roosevelt. Theodore Roosevelt was one of the most prevalent progressive voices. This is a Republican. I want you Republicans to understand your history.
Here's some interesting facts. So now that I've been feverishly skimming this here. So the pledge was published in September 8th of 1892, again by this socialist, Francis Bellamy. And that salute was also again designed by Bellamy, and that was the original pledge to the flag, was the Nazi salute, called the Bellamy salute. It was later changed because it was so similar, during World War II, to the hand over the heart gesture, because the original form involved stretching the arm out towards the flag in a manner that represented the Nazi salute. But the Nazis very well may have, at that point, adopted their Nazi salute from the American salute to the flag, which was, again, a socialist, a nationalist socialist gesture.
And if we think about what the pledge says, what does it say? It says you will pledge allegiance. You will pledge what's basically an undying oath to the flag, to an inanimate object that represents this great country. Now, it doesn't talk about the people of this great country. It doesn't talk about...
Troops are defending you. You should be respectful and grateful for them providing you your freedom. And the thing is that argument is really tired because the same people don't understand that it's been ruled in courts over and over again that these organizations, the military, the police, actually have absolutely no duty to protect you whatsoever.
Correct.
And so the whole myth of citizenship, right, and pledging your allegiance for safety, you swear your fealty to the government and they provide you with certain things, certain safeties and services. That deal doesn't exist.
Amazing, isn't it, folks? Doesn't it just kind of go counter to everything you've ever been taught? We're going to go to the phones where we've got Howard calling in from North Dakota. Howard, you're on Free Talk Live. What's on your mind?
Hey, guys. I was curious on what you guys thought about the e-cigarette ban in San Francisco.
I was going to say I'm really enjoying mine today, but matter of fact, I am smoking an e-cigarette, a vaping device right now. Now, personally, not that you asked, but I'm going to tell you anyway. The reason I took it on is I have been smoking cigarettes for about 40 years, and by switching over to a vape, I have not deprived myself of any nicotine, but I have deprived myself of a lot of smoke.
I was going to say, you don't smell like a smoker or look like a smoker.
I hear that a lot. But please, go ahead, Howard.
Yeah, I just wanted to say you guys are fucking birds, bitches.
Well, that's how you just end up off the air real fast.
Why do people do that?
Because
well, they like to. They like to get ahead of the host and try to take advantage of my Lyme brain.
Oh, you got him good, whoever you were, caller. I hope you feel accomplished.
I mean, it's just it just gets dumped off the air and you disappear.
Exactly. Congratulations.
That's right. He's going to disappear. Guys in black suits are going to zip down ropes tonight.
Exactly.
And don't call Free Talk Live and mess around, or this could happen to you.
Oh, my.
What, do you have one friend who's listening live that you're trying to impress?
Yes.
Hey, Timmy, watch this. I'm going to call a radio show because I'm so cool. Hey, Timmy.
We usually get those from Twitch.
Yeah?
Twitch is a good source of those crank calls, but not all of them. Sometimes we get some good calls.
Go play video games. Don't you have better things to do?
Exactly. 855-450 free. We're on Free Talk Live. We are discussing this Minnesota City Council's decision to reinstate the pledge. And rah. They want to bring it back, and Trump had some things to say about it. 855-450 free. This is Free Talk Live.
Bitcoin.com has launched a trading platform at local.bitcoin.com, allowing you to buy or sell Bitcoin Cash via dozens of payment methods like PayPal, Venmo, bank deposit, remittances, or meeting in person with cash. There are no ID requirements to sign up for and use the site, and all communications between buyers and sellers are encrypted. Finally, a global trading platform that respects your privacy. Visit local.bitcoin.com to get started trading Bitcoin Cash. local.bitcoin.com.
Are you concerned that the values that made America great are no longer taught in schools? Well, I am, so I got my son the Tuttle Twins children's book series.
My name is Jack, and I'm 11, and I just finished the Tuttle Twins series. It taught me about liberty, free market economics, and entrepreneurship.
Give all the young people in your life a chance at reason and clear thought, because they're not going to get it at school. There are 9 books in the series, and each one teaches a set of ideas that children aren't getting elsewhere. Go to TuttleTwins.com and use coupon code FTL to get 40% off. That's TuttleTwins.com.
Don't you hate that feeling in the pit of your stomach when the police pull you over? Most people have no idea how to handle it properly, and they promptly get fed into the municipal fee-generating meat grinder. Or maybe you recall that feeling you get when you go to the mailbox and see one or more letters from the IRS. You get a sense of impending doom, don't you? So let me ask you, if you could learn how to use the law to beat the IRS, traffic tickets, almost any courtroom scenario, collectors, credit card debt, and even mortgage debt because of fraud perpetrated against you, would that be worth knowing about? Don't laugh. Investigate. Check out the life-changing benefits of the Lighthouse Law Club at their website, lighthouselaw.club. That's lighthouselaw.club. And while you're at it, visit the Lighthouse Law Club YouTube channel. You might be in for a pleasant surprise.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was
kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com. The LRN.FM's social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it. So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, 855-450-FREE. That's our toll-free number, 855-450-FREE. Free as in freedom, free as in no free lunch. But I'll tell you what you can get for free. You can go to liberty.menu and find a directory of Liberty businesses. For years, libertarians of all stripes have wanted a directory of liberty-minded businesses. We're here to help build one, liberty.menu. Liberty.menu is a tool for your community. At its core, it's a directory for events, businesses, and digital content, and more. Listings can be rated and reviewed, and there's a bit of a social network so you can connect and share with others. Use of Liberty.menu is exclusively for individuals that reject the initiation of force and those who agree to abide by the ethics of the non-aggression principle. Put your voluntarist ideas into action at Liberty.menu and use FTL, use coupon code FTL to get a special badge. We say that you could get something really cool for free with code FTL. We can give you a badge, but the problem is almost everything is free already at Liberty.menu. So check it out. That's Liberty.menu. Check out my store on there. We advertise. We even pay them a little bit of money every month, and we actually get some results out of it. So we're happy with that.
Excellent.
And joined in studio with myself, Chris, is
Silver Dave and Johnson.
And we've been talking about everything, but we've been trying to get into this story where the city council in Minnesota that said, no, we're not going to say the Pledge of Allegiance. We don't think you have to pledge your fealty to the country because you want to complain about cracks in your sidewalk or potholes in your road. They felt that would make some people feel uncomfortable, but the story has an update. Pledge of Allegiance restored at city council meetings in St. Louis Park, Minnesota. The St. Louis Park City Council voted unanimously to restore the Pledge of Allegiance at meetings after the local outcry gets national spotlight. The Minnesota City Council on Monday reportedly agreed to reinstate the Pledge of Allegiance at meetings weeks after the group sparked a widespread and high-reaching backlash by removing the pledge recital. Now, I just want to be clear as to what happened here. The city council said we're not going to be saying the pledge before our meetings. A whole lot of very conservative people stormed City Hall, all of them carrying flags of various sizes and shapes. One picture we saw, it took two people to carry this flag. It was that big. There was that much liberty.
Compensating Iwo Jima there.
There was so much liberty in that flag. It took 2 people to carry it. And then they proceeded to complain because the city council dared not state the words of an avowed socialist. Now, what does Donald Trump have to say on socialists? We will never be a socialist or communist country. If you're not happy here, you can leave. This was, let me see, going way back to yesterday. Donald Trump railing against socialism, yet you have people, arguably of Trump's party, sitting here being up in arms because people don't want to say socialist claptrap, and that's what our Pledge of Allegiance is. I don't say that. This is not me being anti-American. This is not me saying I hate this country and everything about it. No. What I hate is socialism. I don't like it. I don't like the idea that we would spend a half a second convincing people that these ideas are good. These ideas get people killed. You want to talk about millions, hundreds of millions of people in this world have died in the 20th century thanks to socialism. You want me to celebrate that? You want me to talk about how great these socialist words are? I say burn them.
And I was going to say that all those people, those hundreds of millions of people that are killed because people pledge obedience to these various governments, and when they say we will obey, they pledge allegiance, they pledge to obey the orders of, they'll do what they're told, which is ultimately how these hundreds of millions of people are killed, because the biggest murderers that exist are the governments of the world.
They are indeed. And one thing else, as I looked at this crowd, and I'm only looking at pictures from this city council meeting, I'm just coming to my own conclusion. I'm going to say that most of those people were probably conservatives. I think a number of them were Christians. I think for a Christian to advocate pledging allegiance to anyone but God, how do you reconcile that with your religion? You're advocating basically idolatry. You wish to say that I will pledge my life above God, above my family, above anything else to government. That's what the pledge is. Does that really jive with your values? I have a problem with it.
And this guy who wrote the Pledge of Allegiance, the United States Pledge of Allegiance, Bellamy, in 1891, he was apparently forced from his pulpit in Boston, where he was a preacher. So he was also a preacher. He was not only a socialist, but he was also a preacher. And he was forced from that because people got sick of hearing him preaching against the evils of capitalism.
Yeah.
So he spent all his time preaching. He wasn't just like a regular socialist. He was going out preaching against capitalism. And finally, people were like so sick of it, they were like, get out of here. And then, apparently he decided to move to Florida and, carry on or whatever down away.
But again, you got a minister who's literally run out of town on a rail because of his socialist teachings. And now we have people defending his work. This boggles my mind, while claiming to be good patriotic Americans.
Weird.
I know it's weird. It makes no sense. Now, personally, I'm not the world's most devout Christian or anything like that. But if you take a pledge of allegiance to something, I compare it a little bit to taking an oath. When I was in the military, I swore an oath a couple times. Silver Dave, you were in the military too, right?
That's true, I was.
You kind of did, and when you're an 18-year-old kid and you're swearing an oath, maybe it was just me, but it kind of felt like it meant something. I was making a promise to someone to do certain things, and that's kind of what an oath was. The idea that we would pledge under a complete, not even a thinly veiled guise of socialism, just I find amazing The city council, which is in controversial Democratic Representative Ilhan Omar's 5th congressional district, created an uproar after the June 17th unanimous vote, which amended the procedural rules to cut the pledge from the start of each session. The change came as part of an effort to serve a more, quote, diverse community, unquote, Councilmember Tim Brower said during a June meeting. What do you think? Is it time to retire the Pledge of Allegiance? I'm all for it, but you may disagree. 855-450-FREE. This is Free Talk Live. Give me a call.
You love Bitcoin. It's the future, right? Well, no, not if everyone stops using it. I mean, how many places in your town take Bitcoin? One? None? Let's be real. If this Bitcoin thing is ever going to happen, it's going to need your help. The good news is the guys at AnyPay have your back. We built a website called helpmetakebitcoin.com, and it's a place you can send any business, and they'll be set up to take Bitcoin in 5 minutes. helpmetakebitcoin.com.
Gold has definitely been on the move recently, and there is no more secure investment historically. McIlvaney ICA has been helping people take delivery of precious metals and find storage options for decades. They've helped thousands of investors with their precious metal IRAs. Call ICA today for your free portfolio review at 800-525-9556 or download their free report online at icagoldsilver.com to learn how you can double your gold and silver ounces even within an IRA. 800-525-9556. icagoldsilver.com.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com. The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount. Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get 1 free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agristhosting.com.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. 855-450-FREE. That's free as in freedom. 855-450-3733. That's our phone number, our toll-free number, the number you can call to tell us what's on your mind. And we've been talking about the Pledge of Allegiance, and, you know, we are, I got to say, you know, I don't think out of the three of us, there's one of us who is an avowed socialist, and we don't really like the words of an avowed socialist like Francis Bellamy, who wrote the Pledge of Allegiance. And I suppose none of you have likely researched the history of the Pledge of Allegiance, but it has a long socialist history. And we think more people should know about that and should evaluate, make that decision for themselves. In the meantime, we have a town in Minnesota that decided that they weren't going to say it at the beginning of every city council meeting. I, for one, I applauded that.
They don't even have time to bleed. How can they have time to say the pledge?
Right. Now, albeit they did it because they felt that it wouldn't feel inclusive to a lot of their citizens in this town. And I always get this wrong. It's St. Louis Park in Minnesota. It just completely, it's designed to throw off Americans who don't have a sense of geography anyway. But it's just, you know, designed to, you know, he felt it would be better for their much more diverse community. And, you know, a lot of particularly conservative types have, you know, what's this? I hear the word diverse, or diverse, and it must be a bunch of liberal stuff. Well, I won't disagree with that. I heard diversity and bandied around, and I immediately think, well, it sounds like a bunch of liberal claptrap. But in this case, they happen to be right, and I will take issue with any conservative who wishes to stand up to the pledge. I just don't think it's a good idea. And I'm not going to say that you're wrong and you're a horrible person. I'm just saying it does not say what you think it means, and you may not know it.
It doesn't mean what you think it says. Yeah.
So
I think that it definitely is a tool of obedience. It seems obvious to me that any time they say, well, you must pledge your obedience, is what they really, you know, could even just as much say.
Well, and what this was sold first to was schools, Silver Dave. I mean, that's where this thing got its starts. Francis Bellamy got a side job selling flags. That was part of how he was making his living, and he wrote articles and put in newspapers saying this should be said in every school across this great country. And, you know, what does that sound like to us? Sounds indoctrination?
Yeah, totally. So there's this guy, Tony Russo, and you might have heard of him. He died a few years ago of cancer, but he was a filmmaker, made a lot of pretty famous films, in fact, but he also made a film called Freedom to Fascism. And interesting fellow. Well, there's this video that he released just before he died where he talks about the women's liberation movement and about how the Rockefeller Foundation funded the women's liberation movement because they could only tax half of the population, and because they wanted to get the kids into government schools and out of the household, you know, so that the government would raise kids instead of mom and dad or mom.
Wow.
And so this actually makes perfect sense to me. And that, you know, before the, say, like, you know, 100 years ago and, you know, before the women's liberation movement, kids were at home with mom or a family, and they were like working on the farm. They were doing things. Well, they, quote, liberated women by making it so that they got to work now too. And they added a bunch of new taxes like income tax, which didn't exist before the 1930s. So they really, like, they got the kids into the public schools, and then they got them saying the obedience to the flag.
Yes, not to your family, not to your God, to your flag.
To a flag, which is, you know, it's like idolatry. It seems like praying to a golden calf. And I just looked up over here the 10 Commandments. And interestingly enough, the very first commandment, I'm just going to read this out loud. It says, the 10 Commandments, the first one, I am the Lord your God. You shall have no strange gods before me. But ask yourself this, do you obey the God or the government first? And I tend to think most people obey the government before anything else.
And you might want to think about that. Do you, if you are Christian, if you're whatever your faith, do you put your faith ahead of government or your government ahead of your faith? We're going to go to the phones where we've got Curtis calling in from Florida. Curtis, you're on Free Talk Live. What's on your mind?
Yeah, well, thanks for paying for my call on your 800 number on your dime.
No problem.
I appreciate the opportunity to talk. I don't necessarily want to talk about the pledge.
Okay.
Even though I don't agree with eliminating the pledge, I don't think your stance in favor of eliminating it will win you any friends.
I don't think so either. Can I ask you something? Did you know that it was written by a socialist and written as a socialist mantra for this country?
I have recited the pledge along with all my classmates from when I was young.
Me too.
And I continue to recite it at city council meetings or at organizational meetings in our community. And
most people do.
I don't, like many people, don't really dissect it.
I don't think anybody does. Curtis, I was the same way.
But, you just have to understand that it's an abstract concept that it discusses a pledge of allegiance.
No.
To the flag for which the flag stands is maybe a little bit hard for you guys to get your mind around.
Oh no.
Well, actually, I have a question.
If you want to make an argument about this, you should make it with sensible reasoning.
Okay, can I offer you
all
one?
Over the page. You want to go back to 2,000 years ago, something written on a tablet in Egypt?
1892 is not 2,000 years ago.
I'd love to.
I think he's talking about the 10 Commandments.
You just started talking about the 10 Commandments.
Right.
Sure.
Curtis,
I'm thinking to myself, that's not a rational argument for other documents or other
Curtis, it's old. There's many different angles.
We're not on the same page here with that, so I didn't really want to go there with you.
Well, what would you like to go? Where would you like to go?
And I really have a question for him when we're done, but go ahead.
Okay.
But
please.
The Pledge of Allegiance is just it's just going to be around forever. I don't think that one city council's decision or whether they went back on their decision
forever
or not,
seems like a long time.
Yeah. Would you agree that a pledge is something one would take seriously? Do you?
Well, yeah. I mean, we pledge to the public TV stations. We pledge to the people who solicit Shriners gifts.
More of the point. I'm talking about another kind of a pledge. I pledged.
Did you pledge for a sorority or a fraternity?
No, I pledged for the U.S. military. I had to take an oath of allegiance.
Right, and you did your time. You served your time.
I did, and I think Silver Dave did too. That was something that was not pledging to a sorority. But tell you what. Would you like to discuss this a little bit further? I wouldn't mind. I know that Silver Dave has a question.
Yeah, I have a question.
We're going to hold you over. 855-450-FREE. That is our number. We're going to talk to Curtis. He brings up some interesting questions about the pledge and whether we should even care about it. I mean, if it's not worth caring about, why do we all say it other than we always have all said it? 855-450-FREE. This is Free Talk Live.
The Genesis Communications Network is one of America's premier broadcasters of captivating talk radio. We thank you for listening. Now, just imagine, there are thousands of people who are just as passionate about radio as you are. But what you may not realize is how easy and affordable it is to advertise with us. Radio commercials for your business could be heard on hundreds of radio stations across the U.S. every day. We can help you by creating an effective radio advertising campaign for your company. From script writing to producing your commercial, just like the one you're listening to right now. No other network provides the level of customer service we do. When it comes to radio advertising, we are your one-stop shop. And no matter how big or small your business is, we can help. Email us at advertise@gcnlive.com, and an experienced advertising executive will help you take the first step towards driving more customers to your business or website. Advertise@gcnlive.com. Easy, affordable, effective.
This is George Norrie from Coast to Coast AM and History Channel's Ancient Aliens, and we're proud to promote amazing energy, nutrition, and skincare products from Jeunesse. Visit gcnlife.com for products like Luminesse. The Luminesse anti-aging skincare line restores youthful vitality and radiance to your skin, reducing the appearances of fine lines and wrinkles with stem cell technology. There's also Instantly Ageless, which works within 2 minutes, reducing under-eye bags, fine lines, wrinkles, and pores. Jeunesse has products to help you with how you look and feel in a very short time. Nobel-nominated Dr. Vincent Jampapa has designed several products helping the body perform better. Jeunesse products have a 30-day money-back guarantee, and they're available up to a 25% preferred price discount. See all of the amazing Jeunesse products at gcnlife.com.
Bad slave. Hey there. Bad slave, you there?
We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can never be refiled. This is especially good because those indictments contain the only charge ever made that Ross engaged in murder for hire. This was a serious allegation that Ross Ulbricht denies. It was never prosecuted or ruled on by a jury, but was trumpeted by the federal government and the media as if it were proven fact. The Maryland court held these indictments for almost 5 years, poisoning Ross's case and leaving him under a cloud of unproven allegations. As explained in Ross's appeal to the Supreme Court, the fact that the judge used these allegations to give Ross a draconian sentence of double life without parole violated his Sixth Amendment right to a jury trial. Judges are required to issue sentences based on convictions decided by a jury, not unproven allegations never even charged at trial. Although this is a positive development, the dropped indictment will not set Ross free. Now, a presidential pardon is Ross's only hope of freedom. Sign the petition at freeross.org. freeross.org.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
Some of our live shows are streamed in HD on Twitch. Please follow and share at twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, 855-450-FREE. That's our toll-free number, 855-450-3733. That's how you can hit us up. You want to get on the air. You want to tell us what's on your mind. We want to hear what's on your mind. This is an open phones show. You can talk about what we're talking about. You can change the subject completely. That's okay. What's important is that you have an outlet on nationally syndicated talk radio that allows you to do that And there are not many shows like this anymore in talk radio. Too often it is a hard right, it's a hard left, and you're going to talk about what the host wants you to talk about. Well, you don't have to. But sometimes people do take an issue with us. They do want to discuss what we're talking about. And somebody who wanted to weigh in on our discussion on the Pledge of Allegiance is Curtis in Florida. Curtis, you still online?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Okay.
All right.
Free Talk Radio.
Hey, thanks for hanging on,
I'm here with
Curtis. So,
well, I don't. Like I said, it's not going to win you many friends, and I think proof of that is I got through it. And I don't call radio stations.
So since you just brought up friendships, here's my question, Curtis, if I'm correct. Curtis is your name?
Yes.
So
that's my name.
Yes. So you mentioned winning over friends and the Pledge of Allegiance. I guess I just wanted to ask you a couple questions about friendship.
Yeah.
When you think of friendship, would you think of someone who would help you out or look out for your best interests in the face of adversity?
Yeah, I would say.
So, like, for example, like if your neighbor was your friend and maybe your neighbor was like Jewish and the government came to you and they wanted you to tell them what the religion of your neighbor was, for example, and maybe you felt like maybe that was going to get them in trouble, but you did pledge allegiance to their flag, not to your friend. So what I guess I'm wondering is if the government...
Yeah, I understand that.
Yeah, no, my question to you, Curtis...
I like where you're going there.
Yeah,
because
so...
I do pledge, the pledge literally states, pledge allegiance to the flag.
Yeah, but not to your
it
friends.
also says, but it says, for which it stands, one nation under God with liberty and justice for all. So wouldn't that include the Jewish neighbor?
Well, but so if you're, you would think that
his own religion and to be, free from, to be able to.
Well, maybe you can help me better understand.
Wait, I'm sorry. Could you repeat the part?
Well, what I'm wondering is, if your government.
The first 4 words, literally. I pledge allegiance to the flag. It's not just the first 4 words. There's
True.
There's the rest.
There are more words.
Oh, sure.
So what I want to know, Curtis, is if you're in this situation where the government comes to you and they demand the one of the American government, for example, since that's the flag that you want to pledge allegiance to, if the United States of America flag sends folks from agencies to you and they demand for you to give them information about one of your friends
under their flag,
do you give the information or do you refuse, saying that, well, but their liberty and so forth because the second sentence says this, or do you give the information that they demand you give them to be obedient to them? What would you do? What should you do? What should we do? Go ahead, I'm listening.
Well, I think you should just smoke another joint because you guys are just taking it way too seriously. You got to
well, now, wait a second. I'm
Why
confused.
are we taking it so seriously?
The whole world is about understanding, and the whole way, the way you understand the pledge and its merit and its intent is by going through it the whole way, not piece by piece.
So let me ask you something. You said something.
What to do,
guys? Let me. I want to
situation.
ask a question here. So
Please.
first, you said something about religion there about the pledge. What was your point there? Because you kind of got talked over.
You're the one who said I had a Jewish neighbor.
No,
So
no, that's me.
no. That was Dave.
No,
this is Johnson.
Johnson.
One of you guys, it's just us 3, okay? Because I don't know what you're selling on this radio, but I don't know if anybody's listening. This is garbage.
One of us just got dumped.
Okay, well.
Can you answer my question? I mean, I'm still asking about the religion comment that you made.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to be an automaton. I've pledged
Fair enough.
allegiance to
Thank
the
you for your
flag.
call. Hey, I tried to.
Okay.
Well,
All
no,
right. Whatever.
I mean, the guys told me repeatedly, there's nobody listens to us, and And I shouldn't have to listen. You guys don't listen anyway, so fine, we won't listen.
Yep. So I mean, it's interesting because this same guy brings up, he starts his whole conversation with this argument from tradition, right? We should continue saying the Pledge of Allegiance because that's just always what we've done. We should just keep saying the Pledge of Allegiance because you shouldn't take it so seriously. Just say the whole thing, and it's such a pretty, wonderful thing. You should just say the Pledge of Allegiance. Just say the Pledge of Allegiance. Just say the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge. Stop thought. Recite this thing that's designed to stop you from thinking, to become a socialist cog in the machine. You're just taking it too seriously. Stop thinking for yourself, and pledge. Is essentially what this guy's saying, because this is a traditionalist. And what is tradition? We talked about this, while we were off air. But what is tradition but peer pressure from dead people?
I love it.
It's exactly what this guy is. It's you could hear it. And it's like, come on, everyone's doing it. Everyone's doing it. You just have to be a sheep, people. You're taking it too seriously. If you just smoke a joint and relax and don't think.
I want to read a little bit from an article from Cato. This came out years ago, but it's called What's Conservative About the Pledge of Allegiance? And just this one section of it, I think it's pretty telling. Quote, it's probably too much to ask politicians to reflect a little bit before they lunge for a political hot-button issue. But any conservatives so inclined should think about what they're defending, meaning the Pledge of Allegiance. What's so conservative about it? Very little, as it turns out. From its inception in 1892, the pledge has been a slavish ritual of devotion to the state, wholly inappropriate for a free people. It was written by Francis Bellamy, a Christian socialist, pushed out of his post as a Baptist minister for delivering pulpit-pounding sermons on such topics as, quote, Jesus the Socialist, unquote. Bellamy was devoted to the ideas of his more famous cousin Edward Bellamy, author of the 1888 utopian novel Looking Backward, describes the future United States as a regimented workers' paradise where everyone has equal incomes and men are drafted into the country's industrial army at the age of 21, serving in the jobs assigned them by the state. Bellamy's novel was extremely popular, selling more copies than any other 19th century American novel except for Uncle Tom's Cabin. Bellamy's book inspired the movement of, quote, nationalist clubs, unquote, whose members campaigned for a government takeover of the economy. A few years before he wrote the Pledge of Allegiance, Francis Bellamy became a founding member of Boston's First Nationalist Club. So this is the hill conservatives wish to die on.
And the caller, one of the things that wasn't, mentioned, because he was saying something about saying the whole Pledge of Allegiance.
Right.
Which, interestingly, most people don't know that Pledge of Allegiance was added to in 1954.
Exactly. Didn't have Under God.
Originally did not have Under God, and there has been a lot of talk of changing the pledge again. And so there are some conservatives who recite the pledge as, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all, born and unborn. That's one version of the pledge.
Wow.
Another version of the pledge that liberals might recite is, I pledge allegiance to my flag and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with equality, liberty, and justice for all. No under God. And add equality. So there are, some differences here to these various versions of the pledge, which are designed, again, to just be these. It's a thought-stopping technique to pledge, to recite, to say things over and over again. It is designed to get you to just stop thinking about what is going on, what's at hand.
Obedience training.
After leaving the pulpit, Francis Bellamy decided to advance his authoritarian ideas through public schools. Bellamy wrote the Pledge of Allegiance for, quote, Youth's Companion, a popular children's magazine. With the aid of the National Education Association, Bellamy's and the editors got the pledge adopted as part of the National Public School Celebration. Wow. 855 450 free. We'll probably talk a little bit more on this pledge. There's probably some more legs in this, but we are happy to talk about whatever you want. Give us a call with your topic, 855-450-FREE. This is Free Talk Live.
This is a special alert for business owners, consultants, coaches, folks planning retirement, entrepreneurs, and anyone who is saving and investing to build a financial future. You are likely aware that financial privacy for most people has recently died a miserable death. And let's face it, without privacy, there really is no security, is there? Bankrupt governments and banks on the verge of collapse are perhaps the biggest threat to your financial future today. The Lighthouse Law Club recognizes this and has been working diligently to provide safe, secure, and productive tools to ensure your privacy, your financial security, and your future financial well-being, despite the catastrophes which many people fear are looming ahead of us. Find out more with a variety of free videos on the YouTube channel for Lighthouse Law Club. Just search YouTube for Lighthouse Law Club and secure your future today.
Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org. If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com to receive our usually weekly news updates by email. Plus, we have a Twitter account at twitter.freetalklive.com, and you can follow us on the decentralized Mastodon platform at toot.freetalklive.com. So please follow us at toot.freetalklive.com and sign up for our emails at news.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. Online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow with your latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Gold is trading at $1,404, silver at $15.58, and Bitcoin is trading at $9,597. Today's prices are brought to you by InnoScale. Take off with Managed Cloud. Looking for a safe, secure way to store your important files online? Let InnoScale handle it for you. Their high-availability cloud servers are the perfect solution for clients needing one or more secure, scalable servers with built-in hardware failover protection. For details, see them online at innoscale.net. In the news, hundreds of Pentagon officials have been caught running a child porn network on official Department of Defense computers. That report comes from the Free Thought Project, which says the problem of government agents viewing horrific images and videos of child pornography on official Department of Defense computers has gotten so out of hand that bipartisan legislation has been introduced to curb the practice. Representatives Abigail Spanberger and Mark Meadows introduced legislation earlier this month meant to halt the epidemic of government employees viewing and sharing child porn over networks and devices. According to a report from The Hill, the End National Defense Network abuse was introduced in the wake of an investigation called Project Flicker, carried out by U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement. The investigation identified over 5,000 individuals, including many affiliated with the DoD, who were subscribed to child porn websites. The investigation was conducted by the Pentagon's Defense Criminal Investigative Service, and it netted hundreds of suspects who worked for and are affiliated with the Department of Defense. The Liberty Beat is sponsored in part by Brave Botanicals, high-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven, and believes so strongly in the power of kratom, they're giving it away for free. Just go to freeounceofkratom.com for a free ounce of kratom delivered to your door. Just pay shipping. That's freeounceofkratom.com. This is the latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Find us online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. Your news now continues. The FBI plans to step up its efforts to gather information from social media, issuing a call last week for a new tool to monitor Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and other platforms in a timely fashion. The Mind Unleashed reports the FBI is citing the use of social media by terrorist groups, domestic threats, criminal organizations, and foreign intelligence services as the need for near real-time access to a full range of social media exchanges in order to obtain the most current information available. In addition to information such as user IDs, the feds are interested in emails, IP addresses, telephone numbers, and likely aliases used over social media. The tool would also allow for location-based tracking, persistent keyword monitoring, and access to one's personal social media history. As smart devices have become ubiquitous in our lives, people are becoming increasingly concerned about the privacy implications of the technology. In the past, tech companies like Google have insisted that their smart devices are not a threat to privacy. But as it becomes more obvious how intrusive the technology can be, they have started to play damage control and are now revealing limited details about the scope of their surveillance. Activist Post reports that in a recent statement, Google admitted they were listening to some of their customers through the Google Home smart speakers, which are always listening and recording. The company said they only use 0.2% of the data that they collect, which is still a lot of data considering how many people have the devices. The company says a small percentage of the recordings are somehow analyzed to help them improve their voice recognition technology. But they insist the recordings are entirely anonymous. The statement was made after the company leaked an unspecified amount of audio data. Support for the Liberty Beat comes from the Conscious Resistance Network, featuring videos, news reports, and articles from a spiritual anarchist perspective. Experience the Conscious Resistance at theconsciousresistance.com. How would you like to have your business featured on the Liberty Beat? You can. Just send an email to libertybeat@snls.news for details. This is the Liberty Beat, produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. The Liberty Beat is online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for the Liberty Beat, reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
Caitlin Taggart was a beautiful, lively girl who loved laughing and playing outside, but all that changed at the age of 12. Caitlin slipped into a persistent vegetative state, confining her almost entirely to her bed and Facebook.
She doesn't even have basic motor functions anymore. We literally have to drag her to the car to drive her to school in the morning.
She's totally unresponsive when we talk to her. Her eyes just roll back in her head.
Caitlin, honey, it's your dad.
With no hope that their daughter would ever recover, the Taggarts decided to seek legal permission to end Caitlin's life.
It is the most difficult decision we've ever had to make, but we just keep reminding ourselves that the real Caitlin is already gone. That's just her body texting.
We give her one painless injection, and that's it. Her eyes may flutter a bit, or she may murmur, "Are you for real killing me right now?"
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live, hour number 3. Man, the time flies. 855, 450 free. That's free as in freedom. And we still got some loud bumper music going, but hopefully they'll tone it down a little bit. There we go. I love our theme music, so I'm okay with it. Play it loud, and if our board ops happen to be rocking out a little bit, that's not a problem. We appreciate that. 855, 450 free. In studio tonight, it's Chris,
Silver Dave,
and Johnson.
And we've been talking about lots of stuff. We just got done spending pretty much a lot of time on the Pledge of Allegiance and a Minnesota's town decision to stop saying the pledge before the meetings, but then feeling the local pressure of people who want that pledge, even though most of them have likely never really bothered to understand what it's saying, and second of all, understand that it was written by a socialist who espoused many socialist beliefs, many of which are there in the pledge if you happen to look for them and you're not afraid of a little critical thinking. It's one of those things that we've always done, and we referred to a Cato article which came out in 2003 from the Cato Institute, saying what's conservative about the Pledge of Allegiance. In other words, this may not be the hill that conservatives wish to die on, defending the words of a socialist who was actually kicked loose from his post as Baptist Minister for delivering pulp-pounding sermons such as Jesus the Socialist. I find that very interesting, as I love to hear Donald Trump defend the pledge and bash socialism, while the pledge was written by an avowed socialist.
Awkward.
It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, but hey, that's me. You may have a different opinion. If you do, I would love to hear your ideas on that. 855-450-FREE. We have a call on the pledge. Steve in Virginia, you're on Free Talk Live. What's on your mind?
Hey, guys. Just tuned in. Interesting conversation. The pledge, I'm in my late 50s, so I remember as a kid going to elementary school and doing the pledge. And my son and daughter, who are teenagers now, still do it.
Yep, I remember that too.
Yeah, I remember also, I don't know if you are a movie person or not, but I remember I write commercials and I'm a media guy and I'm a little crazy. So, I'm always thinking about what culturally applies when I'm trying to sell something. So I have angles sometimes that give me insight when I'm writing and doing things to try to help sell something. So you do tap into the culture of whoever it is you're targeting. But I'm interested in those things as well. So when I think about an old movie, I don't know if you remember an old Nick Cage movie called Peggy Sue Got Married.
I do remember that. I'm close to the demographic you described, by the way.
Oh, okay. So, well, there you go. And so anybody that's sitting in their living room watching that movie who's my age just lights up when they see that, and it has nothing to do with the socialism that is absolutely associated with the pledge. It has to do with the culture of what they remember when they were doing those things.
That's an interesting point. That is an interesting point. I think that it is somewhat just a nostalgia, the way things were. Things were better then.
It's like they say 11 to 15 is when you found your musical tastes or something like that, It's like in that age range.
Right. Oh, well, I love everything. But, you have to realize I grew up in the 60s, 70s, and was an adult in the 80s and 90s. So my musical tastes are very, very, they're all over the place. But I guess the other thing that comes to mind is I think of movies like American Graffiti, the first movie that was done with music from start to finish, where there was more than one plot going on throughout the movie, and everybody said that it couldn't be done. But again, you go back to that time and that era, and I remember one of the first scenes, what we call Richie Cunningham, he walks up to an unknown actor, then Richard Dreyfuss, and says, "Here, the guys from the lodge, they've given you $3,000. Here, take it." This is like 1962. "Here, take it. And they really want you to know they're proud of you." And, you go to the lodge, you go to any lodge, it's the flag, it's allegiances, it's the culture, I don't care if it's fraternal, I don't care if it's at a Baptist church,
right?
I don't care if it's at a picnic, a Labor Day picnic, whatever. And if you end up being the odd man out, the oddball, before you show up to go, "Oh, God, here comes that guy who doesn't believe in the pledge."
Oh, yeah. Believe me. So I've been a local politician, too, and that's led to some anxiety related to the pledge. I don't stand for it. I don't make a big deal out of it. I just want people to know. Do you think that even if things are nostalgic, for example, I imagine a lot of people who may be in their 50s, 60s, 70s may remember Jim Crow laws. And
I'm 58, so that's right before me, like
Just
maybe
a cusp.
5 years prior.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But do you think?
I remember, I'm in Southern Virginia. I'm educated and I've traveled a lot, but I do not remember what we call overt racism.
Right.
Anywhere here.
But I
You
imagine
go across
that.
the border in North Carolina, it's different down there, but that was then. I'm not talking about now.
Do you think some older people look fondly back at some parts of American history that most of us would want to forget?
Yeah, I do. But you know what's funny about it? Most of my family, I've got one leg of my family from Massachusetts, so I packed the car and I got to buy a hobby. You know, I know how to talk like that. But anyway, most of my family are Southern. They're from Virginia. And when I think back about the times when I was growing up, I guess what it was, there was a separation, and I don't think this is necessarily right, but there was a separate but equal attitude. We all just kind of did it, and
right,
you know, and then every now and then, the little boy in you that looks at something, and I remember as a child looking at things on TV where black people were getting sprayed, and I didn't like that. I thought that was wrong.
Of course.
I said, no, that's not right. But see, you have to be young enough and separated from that enough to where it wasn't something you were embattled in, and then your parents are trying to protect you from the influences of some culture they don't understand.
So we have this. You are correct that we have this long history with the pledge. Most of us to this day still have recited the Pledge of Allegiance. We have sworn our fealty to the flag.
That's true.
Do you think it's worth having a discussion about some of these old traditions? Do you think it's...
I do. I think the conversion rate, I'm always looking at the conversion rate. You were a politician, so you know this.
Sure.
You've been in meetings before trying to decide how things are going to go. The conversion rate, hey, look, the way I look at it's like you guys. You're putting out the ideas of freedom. It takes a while for a person to go, this is no longer silly. It seems silly at first.
Right.
When you're out here slugging it out, trying to make a living and become successful and raise a family and, get down that honey-do list, and just get the projects done. You're busy all the time. And then you tune in to Free Talk Live and you'll hear somebody going, I just didn't drive with a driver's license yesterday. And them cops, they didn't realize who they were dealing with. And most people will sit there and go, is this guy serious?
They will say that. I appreciate the call. 855-450-FREE. What do you think? Is the pledge outdated, or should we just blindly keep saying it? I'm up listening.
Obedience.
Don't you hate that feeling in the pit of your stomach when the police pull you over? Most people have no idea how to handle it properly, and they promptly get fed into the municipal fee-generating meat grinder. Or maybe you recall that feeling you get when you go to the mailbox and see one or more letters from the IRS. You get a sense of impending doom, don't you? So let me ask you, if you could learn how to use the law to beat the IRS, traffic tickets, almost any courtroom scenario, collectors, credit card debt, and even mortgage debt because of fraud perpetrated against you, would that be worth knowing about? Don't laugh. Investigate. Check out the life-changing benefits of the Lighthouse Law Club at their website, lighthouselaw.club. That's lighthouselaw.club. And while you're at it, visit the Lighthouse Law Club YouTube channel. You might be in for a pleasant surprise.
Are you concerned that the values that made America great are no longer taught in schools? Well, I am, so I got my son the Tuttle Twins children's book series.
My name is Jack, and I'm 11, and I just finished the Tuttle Twins series. It taught me about liberty, free market economics, and entrepreneurship.
Give all the young people in your life a chance at reason and clear thought, because they're not going to get it at school. There are 9 books in the series, and each one teaches a set of ideas that children aren't getting elsewhere. Go to TuttleTwins.com and use coupon code FTL to get 40% off. That's TuttleTwins.com.
You might be living in a free country, but are you living a free life? Are you able to do whatever you really want to do? being stuck in a job or difficult business, or being locked into a relationship with a woman you might like, but you're not free to do what you want. I'm Caleb Jones, and my staff and I have taught hundreds of thousands of men how to create location-independent income and how to date women under your terms. Go to freelifeinfo.com to download 7 free books and podcasts so you can live a life like this too.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm. There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
Did you know you can legally exit the U.S. federal income tax system? Well, it's true, and thousands of American nationals are doing it. The 16th Amendment and the Internal Revenue Code are legal, but only in a limited jurisdiction. This is the basis behind the voluntary nature of the income tax. Learn the exit strategy provided by Congress. Find out more by visiting weissparis.com and watch our numerous videos. That's WEISSparis.com.
Love what we do? Please help support our international satellite channels at patreon.lrn.fm. That's patreon.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, 855-450-FREE. That's free as in freedom. 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. That's our toll-free number. But first, I wanted to tell you about My Magic Mud. Have you ever heard of this product? It is so cool. It is a black tooth powder. Yes, black tooth powder. I didn't say that wrong. I actually got that one right. Despite my Lyme disease, made of charcoalized coconut shells and bentonite clay. This stuff is something that's found in a lot of different food products. It's good for you. It's all right. It's clinically proven to whiten teeth. It's found in most health food stores, Sprouts, CVS, Natural Grocers, Walmart's Natural Beauty aisle. And My Magic Mud, the people that have tried it here in the studio rave about it. It's not a use every day type of product. You only need to use it a couple times a week after you've used it the first time for about 4 days. And it really does whiten their teeth. I've got to say, I'm impressed, and I've got some at home that I am going to try myself. You can receive 20% off with coupon code FTL20 at mymagicmud.com. That's coupon code FTL20 at mymagicmud.com. Johnson, you ever try it?
Yeah, I actually have a bunch of it at home as well, and I got my girlfriend to try it as well.
I'm glad, and the results have been noticeable?
Yeah, it's good. It's a little bit, and I want to try the toothpaste.
Yes.
Because the powder, I have to do the powder in the shower.
It's kind of messy.
It can be.
Yeah.
If you're not careful and first of all, you wouldn't want to knock that container over. Because that's going to be a cleanup for a while.
If you knock the whole container over, I feel like you might just want to burn your house down. All right, honey, we're going to have to move.
And
that's don't even want to know. I dropped the My Magic Mud.
I mean, it's a fine
Very
powder
fine
like
powder.
ash. You know, and it's
very fine.
But
I do love my magic mud, and despite that, I've never spilled an entire can, and I do feel bad for the poor fellow that does do that.
You just have to wipe that sink out, afterwards, because it's
don't turn on any powerful fans
and get, really lean over into the sink so you're not spray, because it'll splatter, right? And that's
and they give you some good instructions. They give you lots of hints on how to do this and keep it neat. But if you don't want to deal with that, you can use the toothpaste, which is a newer product, and people are saying good things about that too. So. If you can do it and just don't do what I did. First of all, I took my electronic toothbrush that vibrates at about 30,000 RPM, and I got it wet like I do when I brush my teeth, and then I stuffed it in the jar of my magic mud, and poof.
Oh no!
It was just a little bit of a mess, and then I tried to quickly shove the 30,000 RPMs into my mouth, covered with. It was just a mess.
And I imagine that your face looked like an apocalypse too. Then
but I have seen the results on coworkers here, and this stuff actually works. I really encourage it. So we've been talking with some folks about the Pledge of Allegiance. That's been fairly popular. We are going to go, excuse me. I'm going to try to cut over to Bad Slave. Bad Slave, you're on Free Talk Live. Can you hear us?
Well, thank you.
Excellent.
Good to speak with you, gentlemen. I just wanted to bring up the possibility of, we've mistakenly pledged all these years. And it's a lot more for me than anybody else here. I'm 67, and I guess there was still some of the Jim Crow laws going on when I was alive, starting in '52.
Yep.
So we've got this history of a socialist pledge, and I mean, why hasn't somebody come along with, and I think it ought to be an agreement, not a pledge. People agree to, for instance, honor individual liberty, individual responsibility, honor, the ideas of learning and gathering knowledge and, being an enlightened being. I didn't have the time here to compose an agreement, but, it might be something that we can keep nice and short, and then just, kind of have it be something between individuals as we, approach our, our deliberation.
I mean, I don't think it's changed. I don't think it's changed because where is government if not square in the middle of the intersection on the Venn diagram of socialism and traditionalism, right? I mean, when those things kind of smash together and you get an overlap of socialist ideals and traditionalist ideals, the Pledge of Allegiance, kind of squarely in there, and it's for the government, it's kind of a great thing, right? For them, I mean, if people are
a done deal for sure. It's like government schools, public schools. I like to call them gov-indoc.
Yeah.
Because they're, that's what they do.
Yeah. You can't look at anything more powerful than that pledge as a more direct example of indoctrination.
The pledge is squarely in the center of the Hegelian dialectic.
Well, so the thing about
and I mean, we being a people that are supposedly of liberty, why is it that we're so hamstrung in dealing with this? This is just idiotic. It's just it's on the face of it. It's just the silliest crap.
There's something that sorry I interrupted you there, Chris, but there's something about the Pledge of Allegiance that sort of pops into my mind, though, and that is that it's actually a contract that people at least verbally agree to, which is very different than the Constitution. And the reason I bring this up is that the Constitution, although seen as a legal binding document by pretty much all lawyers, if anyone's familiar with Lysander Spooner, Lysander Spooner writes a book called No Treason, The Constitution of No Authority. And I find this to be a really interesting read, or audio book. You can find it on the computer, YouTube, audio, play it in your car, whatever, too. Lysander Spooner, Constitution of No Authority. Anyway, he basically explains that the Constitution is not legally binding at all.
Bad Slave, thanks for your call.
When we come back, we should talk about why the Constitution is not a binding legal agreement with you, me, or anybody.
I'm happy to have that discussion, and I enjoy the writings of Lysander Spooner. He had a lot of good things to say and gave us, damn it, the 3-cent stamp. That's a good story, too. We'll talk about that. 855-450 free. This is Free
I can
Talk Live.
definitely say that I have found the best cryptocurrency wallet. Certainly named one. I'm Mark Edge, and I love the Edge wallet. I've been using it for the last few months. You can buy, sell, trade, and hold your cryptocurrency securely. I trust my holdings of all the major cryptocurrencies to Edge wallet, and you should too. No long phrases to memorize, just a username and password. Secure your freedom with Edge wallet. Get it now on Apple or Android in the App Store or at edge.app.
Bitcoin.com has launched a trading platform at local.bitcoin.com, allowing you to buy or sell Bitcoin Cash via dozens of payment methods like PayPal, Venmo, bank deposit, remittances, or meeting in person with cash. There are no ID requirements to sign up for and use the site, and all communications between buyers and sellers are encrypted. Finally, a global trading platform that respects your privacy. Visit local.bitcoin.com to get started trading Bitcoin Cash. local.bitcoin.com.
After notifying students that there will be no awesome events happening on campus this weekend, Hamilton College Activity Board Coordinator Jessica Wilson from the class of 2015 spoke to Onion reporters about the disappointingly empty days ahead.
On behalf of the entire Campus Activities Board, I would like to truly apologize for failing to live up to the standards expected of us from everyone on campus. And the fact is, we let the school down.
Wilson said that while the board is usually proficient at booking plenty of cool events for all students to participate in, the upcoming weekend will have no interesting lectures, no wrestling match against Amherst, no acoustic coffee house, and no outdoor movie screening of Silver Linings Playbook.
We tried our best to organize a foam party in Dunham Quad for Friday night, but all the foam machines were rented, and we failed. This falls on us. We realize we don't deserve your trust yet, nor do we expect it, but we'll do everything we can to restore your confidence in us, starting with a comedy hypnotist show on Thursday at Minor Theater. Tickets are $5.
This is the Onion News Network.
Are you tired of your taxes funding endless occupations around the world? Antiwar.com is run by people who understand that wars abroad become wars at home, wars on our freedoms. Antiwar.com is dedicated to bringing you the latest in news, views, interviews, and reviews from the top movers and shakers in the anti-occupation movement. Antiwar.com has it all, from thorough foreign policy analysis to interviews with whistleblowers who used to run the military-industrial complex. Anti-war, pro-free market. That's antiwar.com.
LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
Would you like to hang out with Penn Jillette? He's keynoting Freedom Fest this year. I, for one, am thrilled. Freedom Fest is the largest liberty-oriented gathering in the world. They take a Big Ten approach with libertarians, conservatives, liberals, anarchists, and just open-minded people mingling together to hear real debates, share real solutions, and converse freely. This year's theme is the Wild West, a time of liberty and opportunity, or a time of anarchy and violence. Maybe both. Go to freedomfest.com/FTL and get your tickets now. Freedom freedomfest.com/FTL. Not convinced yet? Hey, I understand. It's a high-end event, even with coupon code FTLEB. Sure, you're likely to receive investment advice that'll make that sum seem paltry, but I have something special for you. Go to freedomfest.com/FTL and you'll get the 5 best speeches from last year for free. Call it a test drive. Do yourself a favor and go to freedomfest.com/FTL. freedomfest.com/FTL. Use coupon code FTLEB for a discount.
Now you can follow LRN.FM on the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. That's our toll-free number. You can call in and get on the radio, and you can let us know what is on your mind. How many times have you been listening to the radio and you go, I could talk better about it than those clowns, or I can think of a better subject than that? Well, bring it on. I want to hear it. 855-450-FREE. But first, I want to tell you about the Edge wallet, a wallet I just used a moment ago because I just bought $20 worth of excellent New Hampshire maple syrup from Silver Dave.
In a jar.
In a jar, just a big mason jar of syrup, no labels, no nothing, because that's how we roll here in New Hampshire. The nice thing was I was able to send him cryptocurrency using the Edge wallet. The Edge wallet is available in iOS, for iOS and for Android devices. It is a mobile wallet. It is one wallet that you can use to buy, sell, trade, and securely hold your cryptocurrencies. It's user control, which means you control the keys to your money, and that's a big thing in cryptocurrency. You don't want to trust anybody else. You trust yourself. There's support for Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, Ethereum, tokens, Monero, Ripple, Stellar, and many other cryptocurrencies you may have heard of. It's been being built by a veteran team. They've been building apps since 2014. Their tagline is "Secure Your Freedom," and we agree. Cryptocurrency is a way to your freedom. You just need a way to secure it. Go to edge.app for more information. That's edge.app. So we have been kind of, what were we going to talk about, Dave? Well, we talked about Lysander Spooner. We are going to talk about Lysander Spooner, but first we have to go to the phones because we have Decentralized Liberty on the line. Decentralized, are you there?
Yeah, actually, it says Decolonized Liberty, but like I do always go by Decentralized Liberty if you say it. That's actually a fantastic other name.
Then you can thank me and my Lyme disease from not being able to pronounce what's written on the screen.
You just accidentally won us $10 million. How did you bring him in here?
Yeah, I'm sure it's going to be a good conversation about Lysander Spooner too. But I wanted to call about is he's a cool guy. But what I wanted to call about is Trump's disgusting racist comments, and I really don't mean the tweet that he wrote to the. You can make an argument to the about referencing the congresswoman. I mean, yes, it's not civil in the context of American politics, but I don't really put too much faith in American politics. But then he went on. A reporter question and answer session I got a 7-minute clip I found of him and I heard bits and pieces of it where he just blathered off some of the stupidest things I've ever heard, and absolutely just offensive. If you don't like it here, if you don't like this country, you can get out, you can leave, you can go, come back, or you can stay. You can leave this country if you don't like it. If you don't like Israel, he accuses opponents of supporting Al Qaeda and are praising Al Qaeda and all kinds of just. If you don't like Israel, you're not American. You should get out and all this stuff. And I mean, my opinion of this is that if Trump has finally come out and the Republican Party, as I like to call them, has come out as the party of get out of my country, go back to where you came from. I mean, they've pretty much, they probably electorally probably just sign themselves into eventual irrelevancy at some point just due to demographic change. And that's they didn't have to do that, by the way.
I thought you said you were not big into politics.
Well, I'm not. I don't put faith in the electoral system. That's what I should have said.
Okay, there you go. I don't know. I don't know which way it goes. Trump, he seems to be very popular with his core base, who just seem to be feeling that we've got to go along with him or else they're going to elect a Democrat. So no matter what he says, that's it. I don't know where this ends up. I'm not anxious to find out.
I think that it's the same brand of ice cream, but they just put a little picture of either a kitty cat or a puppy dog, depending on who they think, you're going to like better. And whether it's Donald Trump or some other politician, they'll have one people riled up about him being a racist, and the other people will be riled up about something. But either way, it's the same ice cream, and you're going to eat it, whether it's got Donald Duck or a Mickey Mouse on the cover.
Well, so apparently Trump had a reply about, people questioning him about his tweets, and he says apparently those tweets were not racist. I don't have a racist bone in my body. They were, but he continued to back it up and say they can leave. They should leave our country. They shouldn't hate our country.
You sound, Johnson, you do a pretty good job. You kind of sound a little like
terrible.
Like Trump
I feel like it was
working.
A terrible one, but
well, I think you do pretty good. Maybe you ought to shave your head, put on a wig.
Oh my God.
I think that the Republicans are just, I feel for them. I kind of feel for the average rank and file Republican who doesn't espouse all this crazy stuff, but he feels like he's got a boat anchor around his foot and he doesn't know where to go. I mean,
when they're doing interviews like on NPR, it's exactly what it is. Like, we got to support this guy. He's our only hope for, I'm not sure what, I have no idea what they think he's their only hope for, but he's the only hope for my
not having a Democrat
way of life, my demographic survival, or something. I'm not sure what it is, but no matter how badly I dislike what he's saying, we have to back this guy. It's crazy.
I don't know. What would you say if the idea was brought up though to end welfare programs, especially to end welfare programs, and especially to end all welfare programs to non-citizens?
To non-citizens, I think that all welfare programs should be ended, and that's
why stop there?
Necessity to end what you call broadly corporate welfare, and it's all because it's all balanced. People buy from corporations employ people. It's all a system. It's all a web. But yeah, I'm all for it.
So let me ask you this: if you say that if you're coming here, if you're saying to someone, if you're coming here to be on welfare, you should leave. You should not come to the country. Is that saying something that's inherently racist?
Oh yeah, no, not at all. But yeah, that's not what Trump was saying. Of course, he's saying if you don't like this country and you're criticizing him and his governance, you should leave. Is what he was saying. He said that during the interview, aloud, not during his tweet. No, I mean, it has nothing to do with immigrants.
I haven't seen the interview.
I don't know if I'd call that racist. I'd call it more like unrealistic, because you can't just really leave. Like, if there was really all the different countries control all their different sectors, and you can't go in or can't go out and actually work and make a living. If you wanted to leave America and go somewhere else, you wouldn't be able to really go there and live there and work there, because then you run into all different types of problems trying to transfer, which tax farm owns you.
Yeah.
I would think that libertarians would sympathize with the idea that if you don't like it here, if you don't like the system, and if you don't like the way I'm running things, you should go and move to wherever. You know what I mean? I think that line's been used enough that
Yeah, they use that line, but it's not realistic, because you can't really just do that. And if there was
I want to leave anyway.
Well, I know, but one of the hardest things to do in America is leave America.
So
it's expensive.
I've just got to,
and you couldn't, and you have to have a lifetime of support money, because wherever you go, you won't be allowed to work there unless you obey the government at that place and sign their agreements, and
you would,
obey their.
But let's just say I wanted to leave this country. It's not as simple as me buying a plane ticket and handing my keys to my neighbor saying keep an eye on the place or sell it or whatever. There's not that. I'm going to have to pay penalties to the IRS.
Yeah.
I mean, that's unreal. I have to pay an exit fee. It's prohibitively expensive for a lot of people. A lot of people that he's saying, just get out of the country if you don't like it.
Because it's a tax farm and they own you.
Decolonized Liberty, thank you so much for the call. 855-450-FREE. What do you think? I think Decolonized Liberty is on to a core issue is what do Republicans expect out of this president? 855-450-FREE. This is Free Talk Live.
Most of you know that heart disease is the #1 silent killer in the U.S. What if I told you for just $54.95 a month you could fight against heart disease naturally? At Heart and Body Extract, we've been helping thousands of people get back to a healthier heart. Don't just take my word for it. Check out all of the success stories at hbextract.com, or to order, call 866-295-5305. That's 866-295-5305. hbextract.com. Don't risk it when you can take charge of it.
Would you like to get back that full head of hair from years past? Introducing Reveal from GCNlife.com. Beverly Hills dermatologist Dr. Nathan Newman invented Reveal, which contains polypeptides with natural botanicals and no parabens, sulfates, silicones, or dyes for a salon-quality hair growth product. Reveal. Here's Dr. Newman.
I have treated a lot of patients who lose their hair and they lose their confidence. We've created a unique set of polypeptides, which we call HPT6. The HPT6 contains the polypeptides from 6 different plants. The scalp infusion treatment should be used on wet or dry scalp. The Reveal hair care system is designed to be used for men and women alike.
Get Reveal at GCNlife.com with a 30-day money-back guarantee. So try Reveal today at GCNlife.com or 844-443-6637. Plus a discount up to 25% off for Reveal at GCNlife.com or 844-443-6637.
Fellow Patriots, my name is Todd Savage, founder of BlackRifleRealEstate.com. Like you, I was a prisoner of the alt-left sanctuary state until one day I chose to lead my family to freedom. Today we live on a sustainable 20-acre homestead where we shoot, hunt, garden, and homeschool our children without the tyranny of the nanny state looking over us. If you're ready to flee the city to the freedom of Idaho or Montana, our Black Rifle Real Estate team is here to help. Go to BlackRifleRealEstate.com. That's BlackRifleRealEstate.com.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippies! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadavi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it. Bitcoin.com has launched a trading platform at local.bitcoin.com, allowing you to buy or sell Bitcoin Cash via dozens of payment methods like PayPal, Venmo, bank deposit, remittances, or meeting in person with cash. There are no ID requirements to sign up for and use the site, and all communications between buyers and sellers are encrypted. Finally, a global trading platform that respects your privacy. Visit local.bitcoin.com to get started trading Bitcoin Cash. local.bitcoin.com.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
This is Free Talk Live, 855-450-FREE. That's our toll-free number. That's free as in freedom, 855-450-3733. Hey, you know who I'd like to say? I want to give a shout-out. This is not a show that does shout-outs, but damn it, I got first chair. I'm going to shout out Curry Taylor. He is a silver amplifier. What is an amplifier, you say? Amplifiers are people that donate money to Free Talk Live's Amplify program. That stands for AMP. AMP is Advertise, Market, and Promote. And Curry has pledged $10 a month, and that money goes for one thing and one thing only. It is promoting this promoting this radio show, getting it on more stations so more people will hear the ideas of liberty. We think that's a worthwhile venture. You can find out more at amp.freetalklive. That's amp.freetalklive.com.
So I want to mention something real quick about, just during the last segment that, I don't know. I've been watching for a while this whole, thing where everyone keeps calling Trump racist, and I keep looking for, something that I can clearly say, oh yeah, that was clearly racist and not motivated by any other possible ideology, right? It had to be a racist statement. Absolutely. And I guess I still haven't been able to figure that out. People, I see where the bias is coming from the left, putting people in a spotlight and saying, see, he's racist. He singled out these for women and the women of color. It's no, Trump attacks everyone, right? And it's I haven't figured it out. And it's not like I'm a Trump supporter. I think it's, I wouldn't support any Republican for the most part. I think, I vaguely supported Ron Paul in a primary, but I don't know even if Ron Paul had won that primary, if I would have voted for Ron Paul. I still don't really know because, the idea of voting for a Republican or a Democrat makes me just kind of want to vomit in my mouth a little bit. But, decolonize liberty is, bringing up this point and saying, this is clearly racist. And what I wonder is how someone like that, or how other people would feel about these, because there are a lot of people who are minorities, people of color, who have come out in support of Trump. People like in
Candace Owens.
Candace Owens comes to mind. There are other people. I can't necessarily list off a name of people because I've been actually more trying to pay less and less attention to politics. Yeah. And I'm just wondering, what the thought is there in terms of mentioning those people who obviously also do not think that Trump is being racist. It seems like there's actually a growing support amongst minority communities for Trump and for the Republican Party, actually, is the impression that I've gotten.
And is it just his abrasiveness? Is that really what this comes down to? Or are people truly identifying things that they are truly offended by? One place you can go to find out what some of these people think is Freedom Fest. Freedom Fest is the largest liberty-oriented gathering in the world. Freedom Fest's theme this year is the Wild West, liberty or opportunity, or lawlessness and violence. This year, Penn Jillette, Lenora Skineski, Candace Owens, John Mackey, Kevin O'Leary, and Kevin Harrington of Shark Tank, Stephen Moore, Grover Norquist, libertarians, conservatives, liberals, anarchists, capitalists, and just open-minded people mingling together to hear real debate, share real solution, and converse freely. Go to freedomfest.com/FTL and get your ticket now. Use coupon code FTL50 for a discount. Again, that is freedomfest.com/FTL. Plus, at Freedom Fest, you will get the 5 best speeches from last year. Speeches from Judge Napolitano, Alan Dershowitz, Charlie Kirk, Heather McDonald, and John Mackey, all for free. Go to freedomfest.com/FTL. That's freedomfest.com/FTL. I think you bring up an interesting point there. It's more nuanced. I think this is what the left is missing. it is more nuanced. You're just trying to paint Trump as he's a racist. That's it. That's all anybody needs to hear.
To me, that sounds like exactly the mentality that won the Republicans the election, is because the left keeps just sort of insanely just, you're a racist, you're a sexist, you're a misogynist, you're an ableist, just like going crazy with just trying to label people. You're full of hate. Okay. Like they're just getting laughed at, and it's like, that's not what's going on. Stop being an extremist all the time.
Exactly.
I mean, I feel like it's being upset with Donald Trump for being racist. It's like being upset with Kermit the Frog and saying,
for being green.
Oh my goodness, Kermit the Frog, he's a racist. They should take him off. He's really bad. But to me, I feel like he's a sock with a hand inside of him. And so, like, if you really are concerned, then forget Donald Trump. He's a sock with a hand inside of him. You might want to think about is who is on the other end of that hand.
That's a good point.
Let's make America great again.
And with that,
green again.
This America's green. No, they're not stoned. They're already stoned. Okay. But seriously, now it's just because I've got the floor here all of a sudden. I just kind of stole it.
No, that's...
Well, but here's the thing. There's something I want to share with the listeners. And by the way, thank you, folks, so much for listening. Really appreciate that. Without you, we'd be just talking to ourselves with a lot of fancy equipment. So, the Constitution, how is it a legally binding agreement? And this is something that really amazes me, how so many lawyers and so many folks see the Constitution as a legally binding agreement. They must follow it. They must obey it. Legally binding. But I feel like Lysander Spooner, in his book, The Constitution of No Authority, makes it so clear that it is not a binding agreement. And the fact that the lawyers have no notice of this really astonishes me. Now, why is it not legally binding? Well, it's very simple. You didn't sign it. I didn't sign it.
No, wait, maybe someone out there did.
So if you don't sign an agreement, you might be pretty hard-pressed to be in a binding agreement. And then if people who signed it before you were born on your behalf, that might also not be legally binding.
But you have to sign to get your Social Security identification card, right?
And we have to sign it to see
and you
what's
have
in
to
it.
pledge
Oh,
an
that was something else.
allegiance to the flag. So they get you in a bunch of things after the fact. But I feel like those after the fact agreements by coercion, under duress, after being exposed to various mind control, both through programming on electronic devices, as well as possibly through chemicals. Maybe I'm just a theorist. Maybe these conspiracies are just theories, or maybe they are real, and these guys own you according to their rules.
Well, the problem with conspiracy theories is we all laugh at them until we find out that there was an element of truth or they were just flat out true. So many things in our history there's no such thing as false flags except for the whole Gulf of Tonkin that got us into the Vietnam War.
And, of course, every big event that's... No, wait, I'm just kidding. They're telling the truth.
Sure they are.
Or Operation Northwoods.
Why would they lie to us? Hey, Kermit, check this out.
We're going to go to the phones where we've got David calling in from Albuquerque. David, you're on Free Talk Live. What's on your mind?
Yeah, being quick because you're at the end of the last couple minutes of your show. First of all, whatever Trump says, he's playing you. He's playing you. So if you hear something that puzzles you, that you object to, he's playing you. He's playing them. He's playing everybody.
4D chess?
Pardon?
4D chess?
Yeah, at least when he's playing against me. But anyway, so when the state of New Mexico, FBI stated publicly, New Mexico is the most corrupt state in the nation. And they proved it by trafficking my children illegally, and so I continue to pay them back by exposing their daily corruption in support of what the FBI said, that New Mexico is the most corrupt state in the nation. Today, we have more news on Las Vegas, New Mexico Mayor Tanita Gurule Giron.
I don't think I've heard her.
Pardon?
This is the mayor of...
Yeah, mare, like stomping mare, like a female horse, mare, yep.
Oh, you got to go fast.
Mayor of Las Vegas. So you can search Las Vegas and look at on Google. You hit Las Vegas and hit news, and she comes to the very top, along with the drunk guy that hit an elk.
Wow.
So what she did is she's got a boyfriend, and her boyfriend's a contractor.
David, I invite you to call back in on another night because we ran out of time. My apologies. Thank you for spending your evening with us.
Has definitely been on the move recently, and there is no more secure investment historically. McIlvaney ICA has been helping people take delivery of precious metals and find storage options for decades. They've helped thousands of investors with their precious metal IRAs. Call ICA today for your free portfolio review at 800-525-9556 or download their free report online at ICAGoldSilver.com to learn how you can double your gold and silver ounces even within an IRA. 800-525-9556. ICAGoldSilver.com.
Are you locked into a crappy schedule where you're forced to report to work or even to a relationship where you're not allowed to do the things you want to do? That sucks. Wouldn't you prefer to live a more free life? There's another way to live. I'm Caleb Jones, and my staff and I have taught hundreds of thousands of men how to create low-work, high-income, location-independent businesses and how to date women under your terms. Go to freelifeinfo.com to download 7 free books and podcasts so you can live a life like this too.
Is oral health important to you? If you don't like your own teeth, fresh breath, or kissing people, then by all means stop listening. Several years ago, I met Jessica Armand, founder and CEO of My Magic Mud, and I became passionate about the product that she created and never want to live without it. It's clinically proven to whiten teeth, but I find it does much more. They want you to love My Magic Mud as much as I do, so they're giving you a money-back guarantee plus 20% off. Go to mymagicmud.com and use coupon code FTL20 at checkout. mymagicmud.com, FTL20.
Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get 1 free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
The latest episode of Declare Your Independence with Ernest Hancock is next after the news on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for Liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. Online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow with your latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Gold is trading at $1,404, silver at $15.58, and Bitcoin is trading at $9,597. Today's prices are brought to you by InnoScale. Take off with Managed Cloud. Looking for a safe, secure way to store your important files online? Let InnoScale handle it for you. Their high-availability cloud servers are the perfect solution for clients needing one or more secure, scalable servers with built-in hardware failover protection. For details, see them online at innoscale.net. In the news, hundreds of Pentagon officials have been caught running a child porn network on official Department of Defense computers. That report comes from the Free Thought Project, which says the problem of government agents viewing horrific images and videos of child pornography on official Department of Defense computers has gotten so out of hand that bipartisan legislation has been introduced to curb the practice. Representatives Abigail Spanberger and Mark Meadows introduced legislation earlier this month meant to halt the epidemic of government employees viewing and sharing child porn over networks and devices. According to a report from The Hill, the End National Defense Network abuse was introduced in the wake of an investigation called Project Flicker, carried out by U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement. The investigation identified over 5,000 individuals, including many affiliated with the DoD, who were subscribed to child porn websites. The investigation was conducted by the Pentagon's Defense Criminal Investigative Service, and it netted hundreds of suspects who worked for and are affiliated with the Department of Defense. The Liberty Beat is sponsored in part by Brave Botanicals, high-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven, and believes so strongly in the power of kratom, they're giving it away for free. Just go to freeounceofkratom.com for a free ounce of kratom delivered to your door. Just pay shipping. That's freeounceofkratom.com. This is the latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Find us online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. Your news now continues. The FBI plans to step up its efforts to gather information from social media, issuing a call last week for a new tool to monitor Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and other platforms in a timely fashion. The Mind Unleashed reports the FBI is citing the use of social media by terrorist groups, domestic threats, criminal organizations, and foreign intelligence services as the need for near real-time access to a full range of social media exchanges in order to obtain the most current information available.